Hi guys, welcome to the Chris Cowlin YouTube channel for the watch along of the Tottenham Hotspur versus Roma Europa League game. Tottenham doing pretty well in the Europa League so far. 3 victories, 1 defeat. Obviously that last game we played over in Turkey against Galatasaray, Will Lankshire's red card, and a disappointing loss that could have been a lot worse. However, tonight a chance to put that to bed, make it 4 victories, 1 defeat, and really kind of get 1 foot in the next stage of the Europa League. My name is Barnaby Slater. I'll be doing all of the watch-alongs on Chris's channel now. We're going to be doing watch-alongs for every single Premier League, Europa League game, and of course, the cup competitions. We've got the Carabao Cup quarter-final coming up against Manchester United in December, haven't we? Very exciting. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. So send your comments in and I will try and answer all of your questions. Also, most importantly, of course, give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe to Chris Cowlin's YouTube channel if you're not already. And if you want even more daily content about Spurs than even the legend that Chris Cowlin can provide, then give me a little subscribe as well at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. This watch along will be going tonight until about 10 to 11. So we'll have the live watch along. Then we'll have some post-match reaction, some interviews, going to bring some fans in to talk to them after the game. But then Chris Cowlin will be back with his usual Spurs Chat podcast at 11 p.m. tonight, where he will have his regulars, Craig Dearman, Gary Maloney, and Josh Cowan. Let's get straight into it. About 8 minutes till kickoff. Let's have a look at those lineups for tonight's game. And to be honest with you, I think that Big Ange Postecoglou has gone for a slightly stronger team than I was expecting. Obviously, Fraser Forster in goal. Because of Vicario's fractured ankle. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, without doubt. Then Pedro Porro gets a start, and Archie Gray comes in for Destiny Udogie, Ben Davies and Radu Dragoshin as the centre halves, as they have to be, with Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero still out injured. Rodrigo Bentancur does start in the 6. I have been debating all week on my videos as to whether Bentancur should kind of ethically start, based on the fact that he has a ban for that racist comment, but it's only an FA adjudicated ban. It's not a ban that counts across UEFA competitions as well. So Rodrigo starts. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Pape Matar is alongside him, and Deki Kulusevski comes back in from the right-hand side to play in the attacking midfield role because James Maddison has a kick. He has a little bit of a knock that he sustained against Manchester City at the weekend. Then Sonny on the left, Dominic Solanke up front, and of course Brennan Johnson on the right. The subs bench for Spurs: Austin, Whiteman, Udogie, Hardy, King, Bissouma, Bergvall, Maddison, Olusesi, Williams, Barnett, and Werner. And then looking at the Roma team, Svilar and Dicker, who of course has been on Spurs' list before, Matt Hummels, Mancini, Celik, Kone, Paredes, Angelino, El-Shwari, Dybala, who of course was nearly a Spurs player all those years ago. A lot of Tottenham fans really wanted Dybala coming in, but it never quite happened. And Dovbyk, that is the lineup. So what can we expect from tonight? Well, as I said, a bit of a stronger team than I thought Big Ange would really come in with. I have to say, I think what it shows to me is that Ange Postecoglou wants to get this league phase done and dusted. If we can get a win tonight under the lights, a glory night at the Lane. And of course, tonight we do have a dedicated singing section at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They're trying something different. They're trying to bring back the shelf section from the old White Hart Lane with this dedicated singing section. So it'll be interesting to see whether the atmosphere at the ground can be raised to a point that can make Roma feel a little bit intimidated. And yeah, I think Ange has gone for this strong side because he wants to get this win done. And then potentially if we get maybe just 2 more wins in this phase, then he could rest a few more players later on in the league section. In fact, I'm just watching now and there's a bit of a light show being put on at the stadium. That looks pretty good if you, of course, like things like light shows before games. It is very impressive looking, I have to say. However, I know a lot of kind of older football fans think it's, that's the game's gone. The game's gone if there's a light show. What do you guys think about Rodrigo Bentancur starting? Let me know in the comments. And For me, I have to say, and I know not everyone's going to agree with this, but I think really in terms of the optics for Tottenham Hotspur, I think maybe A, they shouldn't have appealed his ban, and B, they should have been, actually, Rodrigo, you made a mistake here. We're going to let you see out this whole ban both in Europe and in the Premier League. However, without a doubt, it is a benefit to us to allow Bissouma to get some rest in his legs and to have Bentancur come in for these European games. So who knows? Just getting a few comments in here. Laren Debs, there's nothing wrong with playing Bentancur. Okay, listen, we're not all going to agree. Tom Bodler says, bit surprised Madders not playing to keep his momentum going. Well, Ange has come out and said that Madders has a little bit of a knock, so hopefully he'll be fit for the Fulham game at the weekend. MUDFC, as well as calling me a poodle, I appreciate that, mate, has gone for 1-0 with Solanke scoring. It would be great, wouldn't it, to get Solanke scoring some goals, but the work he's doing off the ball means I don't have any problem with the amount of goals that Solanke's scoring at the moment. I think in reality, we're just not making him that many chances. One thing we do need to talk about, of course, Fraser Forster coming in for what will, by the looks of things, be the first game of probably a run of at least 10 or 12 games before we have any chance of Vicario getting back fit. How do you guys feel about Fraser Forster? He's in his late 30s now. I think we've seen, certainly in the Fulham game away last season in the Carabao Cup, he was very slow to get down to some stuff. He had a decent game last time out, but now he's going to have to try and get into the rhythm of playing Premier League and Europa League football very, very quickly, because we're going to need him. We're going to need him to step up. One thing I will say, looking for a positive, Forster for me is undoubtedly better at commanding his box in terms of defending set pieces and corners than Guillermo Vicario is. So that is a small positive. However, he is certainly slower to get down than Vicario. Vicario is an elite shot stopper. I could not say that about latter-day Fraser Forster. And in terms of the ball at his feet, I think we saw a few occasions this season, certainly against Coventry when he came in the Carabao Cup, that he was a little sticky with the ball at his feet. So that could be an interesting one. Looks like Archie Gray is starting today at left back instead of Udogie. How do you feel about that? I've really been impressed by Archie Gray. Such a young, talented footballer, but so calm on the ball, very brave, clearly listens to Ange Postecoglou's instructions. By the way, just as the players are entering the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium now, they're coming out. I really like Archie Gray. I think he's going to grow. I think he could be, all being well, he could be our next Steve Perryman, a player who starts his career at Spurs incredibly young and then just goes on to play 600, 700 games. I know I'm hypothesizing. Who knows how his career is going to go? But I love the fact that he can play all across the back line. He can play central midfield as well. And also, I know from a few Leeds fans that he's played as a winger in the Leeds team as well. So what an absolute player we have on our hands then. And hopefully he has a good game at left back today. One little worry, I'd say, before the game starts, a real lack of depth on the bench. We've got a good few kind of school kids in there, and Ange Postecoglou's talked about that this week. And that shows that if the game needs changing, and it could well do, because obviously Roma have Claudio Ranieri's just come in. They're going to play, I think, quite defensively, as Italian teams always do. I think they're going to play a 5 at the back. And it could be that the game needs changing off the bench. And if that is the case, then we will need to realistically look to players such as Destiny Udogie, Yves Bissouma, Lucas Bergvall, and James Maddison to come off the bench to really give us something a little extra. Country Lift says in the comments, got to give Fraser some time. Took a few games for Vic to settle in. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Laren Deb says Forster is good. Angelo Tyro, thanks for writing in, says Fraser and Brandon will do the business. Guys, thank you so much for writing in. Please do keep sending your comments and your questions in throughout the game. I think I'm probably on a little bit of a delay, so I won't be checking the comments too much during the first half. But at halftime, absolutely, we'll go into a proper question and answer session to make sure that we're all engaging. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments about Ranieri going in at Roma. Obviously, Ranieri did the business against us, didn't he, for Leicester in that title-winning season for them. However, he hasn't really done a great deal since Leicester. And I, for one, am wondering whether, realistically, a team like Roma, I could be wrong, but whether they're going to fully integrate themselves and engage themselves with a manager who is quite as old as Claudio Ranieri. Yeah, he's definitely a manager from a previous generation. But look, I don't want to put the hex on it, as actually Ange and Ranieri having a chat before the game now, just on the sidelines. One thing you can say about Roma, though, beautiful, beautiful kit, as is the Spurs kit, looking great tonight as well, by the way. The all-white shirts, the all-white shorts, as we traditionally play in Europe in that all-white kit, because Bill Nicholson, when he was our manager, the double winning manager and our former player, he decided that we must wear all white in Europe just because Real Madrid did. One thing about Roma, they've had a pretty bad season so far. Spurs currently, as of earlier this evening, were 8th in the Europa League list. Roma were 21st, having won 1, drawn 2, and lost 1. The top 24 in this mad new league system go through, but it's the top 8 that Spurs really need to focus on, because if you go through as part of the top 8, you don't have to play a two-legged playoff. It's Lazio and Bilbao who are leading the way at the moment, and of course the final of this competition is in Bilbao, so you can see why they are working so hard to have a really great season in this competition. Not far from kickoff now, my end. Like I said, probably a little bit of a delay for you guys, but try and maybe pause if you have the option. Maybe pause your screen so that you can catch up with me and you can listen to me in the exact timing that I'm watching it, as they show Claudio Ranieri on the sidelines. The Tinker Man, of course, ex-Chelsea, ex-Leicester. He's had a sterling career in English football, hasn't he? And then another player that we've really got to look at tonight, Paulo Dybala. A lot of players wanted Dybala, didn't they, at Spurs, when it looked like we were going to get him a few years ago. Undoubtedly an incredible talent. And if I'm right in remembering, he scored a great goal, didn't he, against us? I think at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium I think it might have been at Wembley for Juventus. As the game kicks off, Roma kicking left to right as we look at it and settling into the game. Roma playing that 3 at the back system, and they go long early doors. In fact, right, tell you what, a dangerous ball over the top, and Fraser Forster with some good early work there, clearing the ball out. Roma went for the direct ball straight from their back 3. We've got Glenn Hoddle on co-commentary. A lot of people get annoyed by Glenn Hoddle, but frankly, when you watch Sky a lot, and Spurs are playing on Sky, and they have Alan Smith, the ex-Arsenal striker, on, it's just a relief to have anyone who is not him. Trent Morgan in the comments says Fraser is a decent shot stopper and will be good to get him a couple of games under his belt. Pedro Porro on the right gets the throw in, and Spurs just calming the ball down in central midfield now. Plays it nicely into Solanke. I love how he comes deep like that, and Solanke wins an early foul there. That will be happening a lot. When you play against Italian teams, the reality is they're incredibly professional. They will make fouls early to stop any attacks happening. As we make take the free kick quickly, it comes across to Sarr, gets it out wide to Sonny. Archie Gray making a good overlapping run for him, but he comes inside and back for Sarr. It should be mentioned, shouldn't it, as Ben Davis plays it across to Dragushin, Tottenham have struggled this season against flat back 5s and teams who play very narrow and where we have to be patient. We have been hit on the break in games like this so far this season, so that is a little bit of a worry. But you'd like to think that some of the confidence allows us to have a bit of momentum potentially after that brilliant 4-0 game against Manchester City during the week. It comes back to Fraser Forster, gives it to Ben Davis. So far, Roma not really pressing the centre-backs too hard, kind of allowing them to look what their options are and then get it back to Forster. Forster plays it out to Davies again, who plays it into Sonny with a bit of space. Sonny wins a free kick, but they play on as Solanke comes deep again, playing like the Harry Kane role in central midfield. Plays a lovely ball into Kulusevski. Good strength from Kulusevski in central midfield now. Porro's got down to the byline. A chance for Spurs here for Sarr. It's a penalty. I think that's a penalty. That should be a penalty. Sarr got his foot there first. The cutback was from Porro. Sarr gets his foot there first, and the defender comes through him, and the referee hasn't given that. It should go to VAR, this. Well, I don't think that'll get overturned. Glenn Hoddle says no contact. I think maybe it's more like Sarr was expecting the contact and it didn't quite come. Although the VAR check is still going on, but I think they're just trying to be sure with this. I'd be very surprised if this was overturned here, even though at first glance, it did look like a pen to me because Sarr definitely got his foot there. They're taking a long time over this. As Hummels talks to Dominic Solanke. Pretty madly, this is Roma's 3rd manager of the season, by the way, and Mats Hummels wasn't playing under the previous manager. They're taking a long time over this VAR check, you know. Oh, and the referee is going to the screen. The referee is going to the screen. I thought first look that it was a pen. Now they're showing it. It's a pen. It's definitely a pen. Sarr got his foot there first, and it's Hummels who comes in late, and he takes him out. And like I saw it first, it should have been a pen, and I think the ref will overturn this. And he has. Penalty to Tottenham Hotspur, 3rd minute. And you've got to think that Son Heung-min will be taking this. What a start to this game for Spurs. Beautiful cutback from Porro. It was lovely football, actually, from Spurs. So, Sonny stepping up. 4 minutes, taking a couple of minutes this to get sorted out. He tends to go to the bottom left, Sonny. Here he comes. He's taking his time, having a breathe. He's having a good old breathe and think about this, Sonny. Here he comes. Goal goes to the bottom right. 1-0 Spurs. Keeper had absolutely no chance, went the wrong way. Fantastic stuff. And it was a beautiful, beautiful move from Spurs, setting it up, getting Pedro Porro down to the byline and cutting it back. And Pape Matar Sarr, beautiful run into the box, late run, which is one of the things that he can really improve on, if you ask me. And a great early goal for Spurs, and that'll help get the fans right behind us. Beautiful stuff. Big Ange Postecoglou gives them a round of applause on the bench. The Rome the bench in the background looking pissed off, to say the least. What happened there was, I thought it was a penalty on first glance, absolutely. And then Glenn Hoddle kind of persuaded me otherwise on the co-coms. Anyway, Roma have kicked off. They get an early ball into the box, and actually, tell you what, that ball found... Oh, it was a good chance at the edge of the box there. They got in down the left flank, and nobody was picking up the 21 on the edge of the box. And on the half volley, he had a chance, but he got it wide. And Spurs now playing out from the deep again. Pape Matar Sarr in a bit of a difficult position there. Plays a long old ball across his box and kicks it straight out of play. To be honest, Pape Matar Sarr, as much as I love him, not one of the players I'd want really with the ball at his feet in his own box like he was there, because I think he will improve a lot. Oh, tell you what, Roma got a bit lucky there, have they? Yeah, great pressing from Dominic Solanke. Spurs have won it high up the pitch. They look like there might be a chance for Spurs to get through on goal there. Didn't quite happen, and Roma have been able to clear. This is an end-to-end game already. Now Roma have it central midfield and play the big diagonal over our fullbacks, where we're always a little bit liable. But Son Heung-min working hard to help out Archie Gray. Dybala it was who had the chance, wearing the number 21. What a player he is, by the way. What a career he's had. Anyway, what are we? 7 minutes gone. Tottenham 1, Roma 0. Great start for Spurs, and good to see us at home scoring the first goal as well, because we've been conceding first a lot this season, haven't we? As Roma go for the big long ball over the top, and because of the high line, nobody there, and Archie Gray can sweep it up. John Doe in the banners, in the comments says, you need a game clock. Don't worry, we will have a game clock before the next round. Phil C says, dream start. Trent Morgan says, what a start. Keep your comments coming in, guys. Really appreciate it. As just a bit of a dodgy ball back to Ben Davis there, and he clears it long. And that was the right decision. Kulusevski won it in midfield, but then he was tackled. Oh, bad ball. And tell you what, Kulusevski's picked it up. Spurs won it high again. Oh, Kulusevski tries to slip in Dominic Solanke, but just one too many centre-backs. And this is a really high-tempo kind of game of basketball at the moment, because Roma straight away coming back at Spurs. And Rodrigo Bentancur just hacking around in midfield gives away a free kick. The fans really behind Spurs at the moment, enjoying this game. Roma looking pretty comfortable on the ball so far, other than just getting out-pressed a couple of times up the pitch. as again they go long. Manchester United 1-0 up against Bodo Glimt in Amarim's first home game as well. Roma looking very comfortable on the ball in midfield. Paredes lays it out wide. Mancini inside now into Pablo Dybala, who plays it out, and they're in again on the left-hand side here, Roma. An early first-time cross cleared well by Dragushin. Now Spurs kind of playing a little bit more on the transition so far than we're used to at home, I have to say. Dragushin plays it nicely out to Pedro Porro. Plays it down the line to Brennan, who's got to keep the ball here. And tell you what, a Roma player has just gone down off the ball there. And Kulusevski and Porro, yeah, it's Kone who's gone down off the ball, and nothing really happened. I think he might have twisted his ankle just off the ball there, and Spurs in the end have kind of kicked the ball off. Good sportsmanship from Spurs there. Arguably unnecessary sportsmanship. Oh, so do you know what? Porro played a pass and it hit Kone's toe, and then his toe is buried in the grass and kind of twisted itself. Very unfortunate one for Kone there, but a bit of break in play. Keep the comments coming in, guys. Keep the comments coming in. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Roma 0. And Kone looks in a lot of pain there, guys. A lot of pain. Just to remind you guys, we will be here straight after the game with post-match reaction. And I'm going to have some guests from some Spurs fans from all across the world in that post-match reaction who I'll be talking to. And that will be until about 10 to 11. Then at 11 o'clock, Chris will be back on his channel with the usual post-match Spurs chat podcast with his regulars Craig Dearman, Gary Maloney, and Josh Cowan. So make sure you stay with us throughout this watch-along and my post-match reaction, and then for Chris's 11 o'clock chat. Spurs content through the night from the Chris Cowlin channel. Make sure you subscribe to it. Make sure you give this video a like. The more likes we can get on this watch-along, guys, the more Spurs fans will be able to see it. And yeah, make sure you give Chris Cowlin a subscribe. And you can subscribe to me too for more daily Spurs content as well at Barnaby Slater _. Spurs just trying to break down the right there, but a pattern doesn't quite work out. The Tinkerman, they're showing the Tinkerman on the bench. He's in his late 70s now, I think, Claudio Ranieri. He had officially retired, but the lure of the team he supports, Roma, was too much for him. And that's why he is back in top flight Serie A football and the Europa League, of course. Dragushin now on the ball to Porro, who tries to play one over the top. It's a good little ball into Kulusevski. Uses his strength, but he's knocked off the ball there. And Roma come forward. And again, the big diag. This is where Spurs are quite easy to get in. It's no surprise to me that Ranieri has told them to continue with the diag time and time again throughout this game, because that is where Spurs always have space. And a cross comes in now, and Dragushin clears it well at the front stick. And that is Roma's first corner. Dragushin's already won a couple of important headers in this game so far. Spurs, yeah, you see that pattern from their defending very regularly now. They always hold. The back four will hold on the 18-yard box, and they say to their opposition, if you can play the perfect ball in and your striker can make the perfect run, then we say fair play to you. Anyway, Dragushin cleared it. Here comes the corner. Oh, and they go to the edge of the box for the volley. It's a poor volley. Volley's so poor, it goes back to the taker, actually. And here's Dybala with a chance. And he has a dig. He was offside, and the shot went wide anyway. And Dybala there had a chance, but it was offside anyway, but he tried to bend it into the far corner. And it was offside anyway, but showed a little bit of his technique there with the kind of Kulusevski-esque attempted bend it into the far left-hand corner. Spurs just playing it. Forster and Davis into Davis in a little bit of trouble here, but he finds down the line Kulusevski helping him out. And Spurs playing silly buggers here, and they've lost the ball. Yeah, just playing it a little bit too bravely on the left back front, but actually Roma have had to go all the way back to the centre half. And Spurs very nearly through Sarr, nicked it off her. But now Roma coming in down the left-hand side again. But Porro did really well there in a little 50-50. Oh, but he's been turned easily now. But good transparency, not transparent, but Bentancur kind of saw what was going on. He's played a nice ball, and now a possibility for a transition for Spurs. But Sonny unfortunately lost the ball in that transition. It's a real end-to-end game so far. 13 minutes gone, 1 goal in it. Spurs 1, Roma 0. But I have to say, I was expecting Roma to be a lot more defensive than this. But maybe the fact that Spurs scored so early has made them realise that they're going to have to be a little braver on the ball, as the keeper plays a lovely ball all the way up to his wide player there. And Roma getting the big old crossfield balls and diags in a lot at the moment, showing their talent and their skills. What are they doing? They're down, I think, in something like 13th in Serie A at the moment. They've had a really bad start. Like I mentioned, they're third. They've had 3 managers this season so far. And I have to say, they're owned by the company who are trying to buy Everton at the moment. And the Roma fans hate their owners. They absolutely hate them. So a little bit of a warning for Everton. As Dragoshin plays it into Porro. Not a lot on for Porro as he tries to flip it down the line, but nothing really going. Solanke pressing and Dicker there, and Kulusevski plays himself out of the game a little bit. Oh, Bentancur tried to cut it out. It was a bit unlucky. And tell you what, Dybala's had a shot from the halfway line, and it looked worrying for a second, but Forster was in a decent position. "15 minutes gone. Bentancur has it in central midfield, passes it across to Pape Mata Sarr. Oh, he tries an early ball, Sarr there, and then he loses out in the 50-50 as well. And Bentancur has to help him out. But between them both, yes, they've just managed to keep the ball there. A little bit dodgy there from Spurs, just overplaying slightly, I think. I've caught up a little bit of time. I was buffering there, so I'm about 30 seconds ahead of where I was, if you're wondering why suddenly I've skipped ahead. Still Spurs 1, Roma 0, though, as Dragoshin plays in Porro. And Porro looks for the Brennan Johnson run. Oh, lovely touch from Johnson, cutting inside now. Go on, Brennan. Get it across the front. He does so. And it goes all the way across the front. Sonny wasn't quite in at the back post, but that was good play. Down the line from Porro. Johnson got there ahead of the defender. And really, the defender, I don't know what he was doing. And you can see what he's doing there. And Sonny has to know there, I think, that Johnson is going to get it across the front. And in the end, doesn't quite get in the right position, as I would say Johnson would have done had it been the other way round. Roma and Dicker now plays it out wide left. I'd like to see us getting Kulusevski on the ball. There's a little bit of lethargy in the central midfield that's allowing Roma to play through us very easily. They've got 2 on the right here, and Sonny needs to come and help out Archie Gray. Oh, nice ball there. Forster. Oh, Forster just stays on his line. Oh, Fraser Forster there. The ball came all the way to like 3 yards out. Oh, and Spurs have lost it already because Forster threw it too early. The ball came, it was a through ball on an angle. The ball came about 3 yards out. Big chance here. Good defending from Dragoshin. Forster let the ball come all the way to 3 yards out. And in the end, had to make a save. And Spurs have lost it in midfield again. There's a little bit of lack of rhythm about Spurs and a lack of kind of, Roma in down the right again here. And it's a corner. Deary me. Threatening couple of minutes there. Here comes the corner. Forster not the quickest off his line, it's fair to say. Here comes the corner. It's cleared at the near post. Just making notes for my post-match reaction. Roma, I think, will be... they'll be pretty encouraged, I'd say, by the way that Tottenham are losing the ball very regularly in central midfield at the moment. Just trying to do things a little bit too quickly, I would say. Whereas, really, as we're 1-0 up, we could be kind of knocking the ball around and putting Roma under pressure. But I guess the reality is that is not the Ange Postecoglou way. And Roma, once again, dipping one over the top. And Ben Davis actually does really well. Oh, and Dragoshin has given away a really unnecessary foul as the ball was kind of looped up in the air on the left-hand side. And now Roma have a really good chance to get a ball into the box. It's kind of level with the 18-yard box on the left-hand side. Really unnecessary kind of shoulder barge from Dragoshin. And that is going to allow Dybala to whip one in with his left foot. All the big men are up for Roma here. Let's see how Fraser Forster organises his defence. 19 minutes gone. Here it comes. It's a good ball. It's a header. It's hit the bar. It's a goal. And Dicker. They've deserved it, to be honest. The ball was whipped in from Dybala. Free kick given away from Dragoshin. Totally unnecessary. Oh, dear. Ball's whipped in by Dybala, and Dicker gets up high, and it's in off the crossbar. It's a brilliant header, to be fair. And they're onside. I mean, and Dicker's onside anyway. They're not all onside, but Dicker is. Very disappointing from Spurs. Give yourself a really good opportunity to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And then we've just basically, ever since then, really allowed Roma back into it. And it's 1-1. The fans have been quietened a little bit. You can hear the Roma fans now. Dragoshin into Johnson. Bad touch from Johnson. Roma have the ball in midfield again. But good play and a foul for Spurs there, surely. Yeah. Good play in central midfield there. I think it was by Rodrigo Bentancur. Yeah, Phil C in the comments says Spurs losing the midfield battle right now. Laren Deb says pure luck. No, to be fair, it was a completely brilliant header. But Phil saying Spurs second to the ball. Do get your comments in, guys. Let's create some conversation during this game. But disappointing after Spurs had such a good start there for us to really have lost control of this game and letting them back in it. As Davis goes down the line. Oh, nice ball there into midfield and really good stuff. Kulusevski maybe plays it a bit strongly. That's a shame. Kulusevski had a chance to play Johnson in there, but he just put too much on it, and the keeper is able to clear it, to come out and fetch it. Sorry, to catch it. But Dybala's delivery, they're talking about it now in the commentary. It really was fantastic delivery. And Roma in down the right now as Spurs kind of just thought the ball had gone out of play, but it hadn't. And Dybala has got it on strings at the moment, I have to say, as he plays a wonderful diag out to the left-hand side. And they keep it in. Roma really enjoying this game. Chance for Roma. It's 2-1. The ball was chipped through. It's a really brilliant volley. But Roma thoroughly deserved, you have to say. The ball's just chipped through to about 18-yard box, to the 18-yard box, and it's El Shwari. They're really rolling back the years, these Roma players. Yeah, it's just a little dinked ball. Oh, they're offside. He's offside. He's offside. It's going to be disallowed for sure. Do you know what? I spoke about this earlier, didn't I? Tottenham's back four. They stay on the 18-yard line. And as a result, he has wandered in too early. It's a beautiful finish on his right foot on the volley. And I'm really confident, from what I've seen anyway, that should be disallowed by VAR. It's still being checked, but it seemed pretty obvious to me because he was in front of the 18-yard line. Yeah, it's been disallowed. To be fair, great defending by Spurs staying on the 18-yard line because, as I said earlier, if you can play the perfect ball and you can make the perfect run to break into the box and finish it, and you've got to give credit to Archie Gray there and Pedro Porro and Dragoshin and Davis. They're all on the 18-yard line, and El Shwari had just gone ahead. And Spurs again lose the ball in central midfield, and Roma just playing through us at will at the moment. Oh, lovely attempted ball by El Shwari, and Fraser Forster has to come out and collect it. Spurs need to put their foot on the football here. Archie Gray now takes it off Ben Davis, gives it back to Forster. I think what Roma are doing quite smartly here is they're choosing who to press. And now Forster's got himself in trouble. Gets it into midfield, and it comes now to Kulusevski on the left flank, who's pushed a little bit, but he's totally on his own, uses his strength, and Spurs have lost it again. Well played by Spurs. They nearly win it back, but again, slightly second best in central midfield. Pape Matar is just jogging about a little bit. I'd like a little bit more intensity from him if possible. There's just a lot more intensity from Roma at the moment. I think they're enjoying the lack of pressure that comes from not being a Serie A game. They're enjoying it at a great stadium, coming to play in England. And here they are. It's Dybala again, who's really just playing beautifully, getting the ball out wide every single time. They're in on the left here. It's a cross deep. And it goes out for a goal kick. 25 minutes gone. Tottenham 1, Roma 1. Roma nearly 2-1 up from a goal that was disallowed. And Spurs just not getting their foot on the ball, not able to keep the ball in difficult positions at the moment. Man United 2-1 down now to Bodo Glimt at home. That was a quick turnaround. I guess similar to what's happening here, except Spurs had the second goal against them disallowed. Porro there turns nicely and realizes there that if you put your foot on the ball in midfield, you actually get some space. Spurs should learn from that. Sonny now on the left-hand side of the box. Plays it outside to Archie Gray. He tries to get a cross in. It's a great cross. Oh. The keeper came a long way and was nowhere. Chance. Cleared off the line. Solanke. Saved. What a couple of seconds that was. Wow. That was cleared off the line twice by Angelino. And a great save from the keeper in it as well. And a corner for Spurs. That was really insightful there because Pedro Porro suddenly realized if I put my foot on the ball and turn, there's suddenly loads of space in central midfield for me to run into. So that's what our midfield need to realize rather than just trying to play it first time every time. Kulusevski with a long cross. And the keeper claims it at his back post. 26 minutes gone. This is a really good game for the neutral. Just both teams, when they realize what the opportunities are, just playing it through the midfield. Like Spurs' midfield is absolutely nowhere at the moment. And these long balls from Roma just causing us all sorts of trouble. And they've got men over on us all the time. And Ange needs to do something about this. Left-footed cross again. Straight into Fraser Forster, who throws it to Pape Matar. Put your foot on it, boys. Comes to Sonny on the left. Bentancur's free in the middle if Archie Gray wants to find him, and he does. Bentancur through the middle into Solanke, comes deep. He's fouled from behind there, but the ref's not giving it, and now Roma are in again. Dybala running at our back four. Chance for Dybala. Great save, Fraser Forster. Down to his left. Spurs gave the ball away again, and you don't give it away to Dybala, who's just got the ball on strings tonight. It's a great save, and that actually, to be fair to Force, a great turn from Kulusevski in midfield there. Oh, and Kulusevski's then gone and pushed the player down unnecessarily and gets booked for it. That save from Forster kind of calls into question what I was saying earlier in this episode about Forster not being very quick to get down to his corners these days. That was a magnificent save and really bodes well for the next few games. I think what Forster's got to do is do things a little easier, though, when he's got the ball in his hands. Because a few times already he's given the ball early, which I know he's asked to do, but Roma know when to press and how to put us in trouble. So just, just take it a little bit easy. Oh, yes. Great. Won it high by Pape Matar. He's running at the Roman defense. Have a dig. Oh, and he shoots down to the keeper's left, but it's easily saved. What a game this is. Total game of basketball this. As Roma tried to play it out down the center of the pitch. Sarr picks it off easily. He had two men with him. If he could have got his head up, he could have found either Deki or Son. You'd have to say, though, If you were a neutral watching this game at the moment, you'd be thoroughly enjoying it. Kulusevski on the edge of the box, doing some nice stuff, plays it out to Sarr, who finds Sonny, fronting up his defender. He's got 2 or 3 defenders, though. Oh, what an attempted ball from Son through to Kulusevski, but it's saved by the keeper, Svilar, down at Kulusevski's feet. And Roma throw it out again. Both teams basically really just dancing with the devil a little bit and giving the ball away a lot. Oh, well won again by Spurs. This time Pedro Porro. And Spurs have 5 men forward here. Pick the right pass. Yeah, Porro fancied a shot, but gives it to Kulusevski instead on the right-hand side. Cuts onto his left foot. Of course he does. He's looking for an obvious option here. Nothing going. So it comes back out to Bentancur, who gives a bit of a dodgy pass to Archie Gray. But it comes across to Sonny now. And Gray makes a good outside run for him. Son ignores him, comes inside. But Gray is still there. And it comes to Gray now, who again gets a good cross in, just cleared at the front stick. And Bentancur has to be strong to win it in midfield. Gives it to Dragusin, who takes a touch on it, which I'm pleased about, because he was tempted to do something a bit paradisey here, but he doesn't. Finds Sarr, and now Sarr finds Sonny on the left-hand side. Comes back to Sarr. And Glenn Hoddle's talking about it in his co-coms, about Spurs retaining possession. And that's absolutely right. Davis into Porro nicely there. Porro looking for Brennan Johnson on the right, and there he is. And he plays it inside to Kulusevski. Tries to cut it back first time, but doesn't. It gets cleared. But Johnson now digs it out, but the keeper's going to have this. 30 minutes gone. Half an hour gone. Tottenham 1, Roma 1. It's a little more equal now. Spurs obviously started well with their early goal. Then Roma had the best of the next 10, 15 minutes. Who were unfortunate not to go 2-1 ahead, and they had a goal disallowed. But then Spurs had the 2 balls cleared off the line in one little bit of play. Solanke and Johnson having the ball cleared off the line. And now Spurs are kind of winning the ball high up against Roma in the pitch regularly. Sorry, winning the ball high and making chances, but haven't been able to score another goal so far. And Roma looking dangerous every time Dybala gets the ball. What a player he is, by the way. I don't know if we'll ever see him in the Premier League. He's quite lightweight, but fantastic footballer. As Bentancur beautifully plays Sonny, and he's one-on-one here on the left now. Sonny, is he going to do a step over and go to the byline? He wanted to. Goes inside. Tried a little 1-2 with Kulusevski, but it comes back out. Bentancur on the edge of the box now. Tries to dink it to the edge of the box, but Solanke takes a heavy touch. Pretty rare for him. And gives away a foul as he tries to win the ball back. And Roma go early over the top of Spurs. Need that to go off the pitch, but it won't. What a pass. And Roma in down the left now, and Spurs chasing back. Porro defended that pretty well. Really well, Porro. Let him get to the byline and just used his body. And now Spurs are on the transition. But Bentancur puts his foot on it. It might be Johnson, actually, who Roma just get a foot in. It goes out for throwing. 4 attempts on goal from Spurs, 6 from Roma. The Roma fans who have been hating their season so far will be pretty happy with how this game is going so far. Ange Postecoglou on the sidelines does not look happy, to say the least. 3 attempts each on target so far. 32 minutes gone. It's a Spurs throw, and Pedro Porro on the right-hand side gives it to Johnson, gives him a bit of a dodgy ball back. But Spurs keep the ball playing, and Roma pressing them high here. Yeah, and Spurs win a throw. Quite well done there. The co-commentator saying, although Roma did lose against Napoli at the weekend, it was an improved performance. Pape Matar there, easily beaten as the ball was coming to his feet. And I have to say, he has looked a little lethargic in the first half an hour or so. And Sarr now got the ball and plays an attempted great ball through to Kulusevski. To be fair to him, that is a great pass. And I hope that gives him a bit of breath in his lungs to get going. Kulusevski tries to make his way to the... He cuts it back. Kulusevski! Goal! What a beautiful goal for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. What a goal. Brennan Johnson... Decky Kulusevski setting down the line by a beautiful pass by Sarr, to be fair, who at the time I was slagging off, but just because he's not had a great start. But Kulusevski goes to the byline on his left foot, cuts it back, and of course, Brennan Johnson doing what Brennan Johnson does, making that back post run, this time coming inside, and it comes to almost the penalty spot, sweeps it home left foot. And this time it was actually Dybala who gave it away, but I've got to give props to Pape Matar. Played a beautiful ball to Kulusevski. Yeah, it's Brennan Johnson. He makes a beautiful ball to the penalty spot. I'll tell you what, the way that this game has started, there could be 100 goals in it. It's a beautiful finish from Brennan Johnson on his left foot. Beautiful stuff. That is exactly the move that Spurs train for all the time. I know they do because I went to the open training session, and the drill they were doing all the time was wide man gets to the byline, cuts it back, one of the front players sweeps it home. Beautiful stuff. Oh, and time for me to change the banner again. What a game this is. 34 minutes gone. Don't forget, guys, get your comments in. Let's all get in the conversation. And during halftime, we'll be doing a Q&A session talking about this game and anything you want to about Spurs. Make sure you press the like button on this watch along if you haven't already. Spurs in good shape, though, here. Decky Kulusevski running towards... He's got a chance for a shot here, Decky. Oh, he's hit the post chance, Sonny, and Sonny's hit it over the bar. Oh, you don't see that much. That is a collector's item. Hits the far post, Kulusevski, and Sonny's just 10 yards out. All he's got to do is keep it down, and he hits it high. Oh, that is a collector's item, and Ange has his head in his hands. Son Heung-min has already got one goal this game. You really do not see that very often, but beautiful stuff from Spurs. Playing the ball in between the lines. Got it to Kulusevski, driving straight at the back line of Roma, who are wilting at this point. Beautiful shot into the bottom right-hand corner. Hits the inside of the post, comes out, and Sonny just whacking it over the bar. Roma once again going for the big old diag, but this time Archie Gray was in a good position. Took a bit of a chance there, Archie Gray, I have to say. Now he's back in his own corner flag a little bit. He's looking for an out ball, and Ben Davis is that out ball who eventually chips it down the line. Roma win that relatively easily, and they go back to their centre halves. 36 minutes gone. It's been an unbelievable game. I was just saying at the time there, wasn't I? Make sure you... please do give us a like on this video so that more Spurs fans can see it. And do give Chris Cowlin a subscribe if you don't already. And subscribe to my channel for daily Spurs content at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. Daily Spurs content. And as we get closer to the transfer window, I'll be doing daily transfer shows as well. Also, as I said before, this watch along will go on until the end of the game, of course. Then I'll be doing my post-match reaction. And then I'll have some interviews with some Spurs fans from around the world. Be talking to them about what they thought of this game. And then at 11 o'clock, Chris Cowlin will be back with his usual Spurs Chat podcast. So make sure you tune in for all of that Tottenham content till late into the night. And hopefully we can be celebrating not only a lovely performance, Spurs are playing well at the moment, and it's a brilliant game, but also a win and some momentum. That's what we really want now, isn't it? Some consistency, some momentum in terms of results and performances. Oh, hold on, though. Is that Brennan Johnson? A Spurs player is just grabbing his foot, and he's gone down off the ball here. Who is it? Is it Porro? There was nobody around him. I wonder if he just kind of twisted his ankle a little bit. They're just showing the replay of the disallowed goal for Roma, and it was obviously offside just because of really brilliant defending from Spurs in terms of keeping their line. Got to give them credit for that. And Ranieri annoyed on the touchline, but that's VAR, mate. They haven't shown who went down there. I think it might have been, well, it was either Porro or Johnson, but it looks like whoever it is okay. Just a bit of a worry because it was off the ball. Anyway, Porro takes the throw in. And Kulusevski now working super hard for Spurs. Once Dragusin turns away there and gives himself some time on the ball. I like that from Drag. Plays it inside. Oh, good stuff from Bentancur there. Beats a man. He's looking up. Could have just given it easy there. Was it Bentancur? Yeah, it was Bentancur. Archie Gray is really... Oh, lovely turn from Pape Matsar. Takes out two players. Archie Gray really devoted to playing the inverted fullback role, playing a lot of the time in central midfield, which, of course, he's very comfortable playing there anyway. as Bentancur just looks like they are, Roma are happy to press us or keen to press us in central midfield to make us go back. That's what's happening at the moment. Forster in a bit of a dangerous position here. Sarr gave him an option and kind of fortunate to chip it to Dragoshin, who finds Johnson, who tries to play an early ball. And it does get to Solanke in the end, who's in on the right-hand side now, needs an option, does well, holds it well, and gets an option down the line. Oh, and that's a handball, isn't it? Tried to find Kulusevski. It looked like handball, but Kulusevski gets it now. We've got it. We're in their box now. Kulusevski cutting back. Sarr was on for a shot there. Too late. Now he's going to roll it out. They're in down the right here, Spurs. But he doesn't. He thinks he's offside. Chance. Oh, chance for Son at the back stick. Oh, what a brilliant save. What a save. Sonny trying to place it into the far corner. And the keeper, it's almost behind him. He bends it round Mancini, and the keeper one-handed tips it wide. Really good stuff from Spurs. Kulusevski winning it high. Fans getting behind Tottenham Hotspur. It's a corner to Spurs. 40 minutes gone. 5 minutes till half time. But because of that VAR, there will be a good few minutes, I would have thought, of added time to this game. Kulusevski looks like he's going to swing one in. And he does. Looking for Ben Davies, but Ndicka is so much taller than Ben Davies. He's never going to win that. But it comes back out to Porro. And now Kulusevski again, but he's running at them now. He was trying to find, I think it was Sonny on the edge of the box. But it comes out. Archie Gray dinks one beautifully to the right-hand side. And now Kulusevski and Porro on the right. Porro goes for a shot to the near post. Easily claimed by the keeper. And the keeper, who's had a good half, made a lot of saves, rolls it out as Roma try and beat Spurs' high press. That is a lot more impressive now than it was after the first 10 or 15 minutes. And again, Spurs have won it high now with Bentancur. Might have to turn it. That could have been a foul there, but the ref didn't. And the ref does give that in the end. Bentancur was fouled. Bentancur plays it into Kulusevski. No, Solanke looked for a foul there, but he didn't get it, and Ndicka goes long. One again easily. Oh, and it goes out for a throw-in. Roma now just playing it cutely around their left flank. He's looking for a header, for a free kick, sorry. But in the end, that should be a Tottenham throw. No, he's given it the other way, the ref. Both teams looking a bit leggy now in this last couple of minutes before half-time, but you know that Ange will want Spurs to carry on attacking. That is for sure. Once again, guys, make sure you get your comments in, you get your questions in, and we'll have a good chat at half-time. Dragoshin now. Could have gone back to the keeper, but chooses to go down the line and wins a throw as a result. 42 minutes gone. So much has happened in that first half. Be talking all about it at halftime. Give this video a like already, guys. Give this watch along a like so we can get as many Spurs fans as possible to see it in their suggested videos. We are, of course, live on Facebook, X, Twitch, and everywhere on the Chris Cowlin channels, and of course YouTube. Make sure you give Chris a subscribe if you haven't already. Tottenham 2, Roma 1, 42 minutes gone. Spurs just playing little balls down the right-hand side now. Nice ball from Pape Matsar. And Porro plays a big diag. Who's there? Son Heung-min all on his own on the left-hand side now, driving towards the Roma box. Good run from Archie Gray outside him. He wants to get it in his favourite position. Big chance on the right-hand side for Porro, who could have passed it to the right to Johnson, but actually has a dig and it's blocked. I don't mind Porro having a dig there. He's a brilliant hitter of the ball from those kind of areas. But that was good stuff from Spurs. Son now into Kulusevski. Son is through on the left-hand side now. Oh, and Ndicka saw exactly what he was going to do with the step over, and he has to turn away. Now Kulusevski. Spurs still have it in the box, though. Keeping it well here. Oh, and Kulusevski tries to bend it round. Kulusevski is so confident he has a dig on his right foot there, and it's just wide. That was pretty rare there. Son was driving at the last man. He was only about 12 yards out. And Ndicka totally saw what Sonny was going to do with the little step over to the right and take it on his left to shoot. And Ndicka saw it, and that made Son turn away, came back to Kulusevski, who tries to hit it into the far corner with his right foot, really showing how confident he is at the moment. And it's just wide. Keeper wasn't sure, though. Spurs win it again in central midfield. Archie Gray now just facing the wrong way. Has to find Davis, who beautifully finds Bentancur. He's being pressed, but finds Dragusin nicely. And has Dragusin got an option out wide? He finds Brennan Johnson. Comes inside, comes back to Dragusin, who plays a beautiful ball now. Oh, Spurs were playing some good stuff there, but unfortunately the last ball was bad, and Bentancur gives away a foul, and this is a chance for another set piece to come into the box for Dybala, I think. The Roma wants Bentancur to be yellow carded there. I have to say, for the second time this half, that is a free kick that Spurs do not need to give away. And this is an opportunity for Dybala once again to play a ball into the box, which is what Roma scored their equalizer from. And Tottenham need to play this a little bit smarter. It's not as close to the box as the first one was, but here comes Dybala's chance at the back post, free header. It goes wide. Hummel's free header. Poor marking from Spurs. Oh, and Spurs have got themselves in all sorts of trouble here with men ahead of the ball. Just giving the ball away in midfield. And thankfully, Roma do nothing with it. Deary me. 4 added minutes, by the way, at the end of this first half. Watching Spurs is exciting. And of course, you know, we want it to be entertaining, and it is. But actually, I don't mind this. Fraser Forster now with 3 minutes left of the added time. He's got a goal kick, and actually he's going to just lump it long. Let's fight. We're going to fight for this in the Roma half. See if we can win a second ball. Forster goes long, straight down the middle. And Roma do win it easily. And Porro does well there and brings it across to Archie Gray, who's under a bit of pressure. Very calm on the ball, though, Gray. Cuts inside and finds Dragusin, who has an option out wide with Brennan Johnson. Just 2 touches, and you'll notice Brennan Johnson very, very rarely takes more than 2 touches, you know, as it comes back to Fraser Forster. Forster looking for an option in central midfield. And in the end, he goes for the dink down the middle to Solanke, who holds it up beautifully on his chest and actually then gives Dragusin not the loveliest ball, and Forster now has it again. He's going to have to find Ben Davis, but he doesn't. He goes for a left footer down the line into Son, who's struggling to hold that up. Does well. Oh, beautiful from Sonny. Beautiful. Sonny won a free kick so well there under so much pressure. Deary me. I have to say, it is stressful watching Spurs sometimes. Like the way that we play, the way that Ange asks us to play. It's beautiful to watch, but blimey, it is stressful at times. But Sonny just showing his close control on the touchline then. Mancini ends up taking him out. And Ange Postecoglou is absolutely ranting and raving at one of his players. I'm not sure exactly who it was, but he's having a go at somebody. Listen, I don't have a problem with watching our manager getting stressed at his players there. And Forster now plays a straight one down the middle towards Johnson, but he couldn't win it. Now Kulusevski in with 50-50. Roma playing beautifully down the left here. Spurs turning away nicely, and they might make a nice chance on the transition here if Pape Matar can find Sonny. Maybe an outside of the foot pass, but Sonny wasn't there. And instead he finds Kulusevski, who finds Son. And Son is now one-on-one against, I think... Well, anyway, he's in on the left. He's going to get a cross in, and it's a corner to Spurs. There's 1 minute left of added time in this first half. Tottenham 2, Roma 1. Corner to Spurs. What a time this will be. Kulusevski wants to take it quickly and does so to Son. Kulusevski gives him an option. He's on his right foot here, Kulusevski. Plays it out to Sarr. And Spurs now have come all the way back to almost the centre circle. Just playing the ball around a little bit. Archie Gray to Rodrigo Bentancur and back. And Dragusin comes all the way back. So, I don't know. Anyway, it comes out wide right. Porro to Johnson. Back to Porro to Johnson. And Spurs just playing it around now with 20 seconds left. Will they make another chance, or will they just try and keep their foot on the ball? Dragusin now finds Pape Matar. Not blessed with options, so goes all the way across the right to Archie Gray, who's taken up an interesting position there. Oh, and they tried to find him in. And that should be half-time by my reckoning. And is. Half-time, Tottenham Hotspur 2, Roma 1. A brilliant, brilliant football match so far, I have to say. I do love the Europa League because it's not quite the high-pressure stakes of the Champions League. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I want us to win this trophy, absolutely. But because, almost even more, because of the nature of how the league format is now, where there are 32 teams and all you have to do is get in the top 24, there's basically no chance of you going out in that first round whatsoever. You want to get in the top 8, of course you do. But it really allows for better football, like less stress. And it's been an amazing game. 3 goals in it, 1 goal disallowed for Roma. And that goal actually came from good defending from Spurs on their 18-yard box. And if you were a neutral watching this game, I've said it a few times, if you were a neutral, you'd be thoroughly enjoying it. Let me go through it. The game started off electrically. Spurs made a beautiful break into the box. A great cutback from Pedro Porro. This is in the 2nd minute. And Pape Matar made a good late run into the box. Gets his foot on the ball ahead of Mats Hummels. And by first look, for me, it was a penalty. I screened penalty. And then Glenn Hoddle on co-coms was like, no, he goes down too easily. And then the VAR check came, and it came, and it came, and it came. It was taking a long time. And when the VAR takes a long time, you immediately think to yourself, this could actually be a penalty. And in fact, when they slowed it down and we watched on the replay, it was undoubtedly a penalty, as Pape Matar does exactly what he has to do there. Get his foot in first, get a touch on the ball, and then feel the contact and go down. It took about 2 minutes for that VAR check to go through. Then it was given. Sonny stepped up in the 4th minute with a pen and sends the keeper the wrong way. Goes to the keeper's left. The keeper goes to the right. To be fair, Sonny does often go to the keeper's right, but he didn't this time. And that's 1-0 Spurs. And then in the 8th minute, I've written it's a basketball game so far. Really high-tempoed game. So much space in midfield. You would not believe how much space there was in midfield throughout that half, but especially in the kind of first 15, 20 minutes for Roma, who were just getting past us over and over. And Dybala, what a wonderful player. He had a shot in the 12th minute that was just wide. He was offside for that anyway, but it really showed how he was getting in the game. Then he had a dig on the 14th minute from the halfway line. That went wide. He obviously saw Fraser Forster off his line and fancied that. Then some good stuff in the 15th minute from Johnson. Got the ball across the front of the box, whipped one in, and he was expecting Heung-min Son to be there, but he wasn't quite there. But that was kind of classic Ange ball. And then the first, and I'd say pretty much only mistake from Fraser Forster on the 17th minute. They played a through ball just from the right-hand side inside channel. And do you know what? Forster should have easily come and slid out and claimed it, because it came all the way from outside the box to about 3 yards out on the kind of diagonal of his box, of his 6-yard box. And he let it come all the way. And in the end, he had to make a save from point blank range because he hadn't come to claim the ball. And at that point, I've written how Spurs are continually giving the ball away and need to calm down a bit. And that is why in the 19th minute, it was no surprise that Roma equalized. Dragusin gave away a needless free kick. It was a high ball in the inside left channel as Roma were attacking. And really, he just needs to get his body in a way and challenge for it. But instead, he needlessly kind of shoulder barges the Roma player down. And then you're really in the lap of the gods, because Dybala takes the free kick, whipped in beautifully. And Ndicka, who's a big old unit, and he's been on Spurs' radar, hasn't he, in terms of transfers for the last few windows. He rises easily and heads it in off the bar. No chance whatsoever for Fraser Forster. And that made it 1-1. And then in the 22nd minute, just 3 minutes later, Al-Shawari scored the second for Roma. Beautiful right foot volley just inside the 18-yard box. But Spurs, beautiful defending, keeping on their 18-yard line as the through ball came in. And that is why he was a yard offside. And the VAR really helped Spurs out there. That was kind of when Spurs, I think, kind of shifted it up a gear, really, and started working a little bit harder in central midfield and getting hold of the game. In the 25th minute, then there was the goalmouth scramble where Angelino cleared it twice off the line, once from Brennan Johnson and once from Dominic Solanke. And also the keeper made another good save. He's had a really good game, the Roma keeper so far. Then in the 27th minute, though, Fraser Forster kind of, I think, surprised all of us with an unbelievable reaction save down to his left. Dybala, as I said, has had the ball on strings this half. Got it in. He got into the box. Spurs giving the ball away in midfield once again. And Dybala gets the ball out of his feet and has a shot through bodies and he hit it really well. And Forster got down really quickly to his left, made a huge save. And in the resulting kind of transition, Deki Kulusevski got involved in a bit of a melee, pushes a Roma player over and gets booked. Then the next minute, Sarr won the ball high up, runs at the defense and has a shot on his left foot, but saved easily to the keeper's left. Really there, Pape Matar, who did make a good run into the box and has improved in the second half of that first half. He could have maybe got his head up rather than going on his left foot where he was unlikely to score from that angle. If he could have got his head up, put his foot on the ball, he could have laid in either Deki Kulusevski or Son Heung-min. But good running from Sarr. Then the 33rd minute is when we got our second goal, 2-1. Beautiful, beautiful football from Spurs. I was actually just giving Pape Matar a little bit of stick at that moment. Then he gets the ball out of his feet in his own half and plays a wonderful ball over the top of the Roma defense to Son Heung-min to Deki Kulusevski on the left. Kulusevski drives at the Roma defense, kind of unlike him. Instead of coming in narrow, goes to the left towards the byline and then cuts a ball back to the penalty spot where Brennan Johnson comes in at the perfect time, sweeps it home into the bottom right-hand corner. Beautiful play between the lines from Tottenham Hotspur, and just wonderful football. And Tottenham 2-1, and I'd say deservedly 2-1 up at that point, because in that previous 10 minutes, they'd really come back into the game. Then it should really have been 3-1, 35 minutes, just 2 minutes after we scored the second. Kulusevski ran at the back line with Spurs having won the ball high up again and hits the far post. And as the ball comes out for the rebound, Son Heung-min, and let me tell you, this was a collector's item from Son Heung-min as the ball came out from hitting the post, and he's, like 8-10 yards out. First time, you just think he's going to bury it, and he leans back and swipes it over the bar. You do not see that from Sonny very often at all. And that really should have been 3-1 Tottenham. Then 4 minutes later, Sonny tries to have a go, placing it in the far corner. Another good save from the keeper. Excuse me, I'm just sorting out my pillows in my back. Great. Another great save from the keeper. One-handed, tips it wide in the 39th minute. Kulusevski again won it high to start the move. Then in the 40th minute, a shot from Porro from distance, easily claimed by the keeper. 43rd minute, Spurs really pushing for the third. Again, a right-footed bending shot from Deki, this time going for the far left-hand post, just wide. And then in the 45th minute, in added time, Spurs gave away their second unnecessary free kick of the half. And Mats Hummels had a free header, absolutely free. No one was within 3 yards of him. And he should at least make Forster make a save, but he heads it high and wide. But a really enjoyable first half for Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, I hope you're enjoying this watch along. Please do give this video a like. If you haven't pressed like already, please do. It really allows the watch along to get higher up the algorithm and seen by more Spurs fans in their suggested videos. Also, Chris Cowlin, his channel is such a brilliant channel. Please do give it a subscribe if you're not already subscribed to it. We will be doing watch-alongs together for every game now on this channel. So if you're enjoying this watch-along, please do subscribe to Chris's channel and subscribe to me and my channel at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube for daily Tottenham content from me as well. And once again, just to let you know what's happening after the game, I'll be doing a post-match reaction. And then I will be interviewing 5 Spurs fans from across the world to see what they thought of this game. And then after that, at about 11 o'clock, Chris Cowlin will be back with his usual Spurs Chat podcast with some of his regular people on that. So make sure you stay involved in that. And actually, if you'd like to appear on a future episode of one of these watch-alongs after the game, talking about the game with me, then you can email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's emailing tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com, and you can appear talking to me after one of these watch-alongs in future. But let's get into the comments. Lots of you watching and enjoying this game via the comments. Danger Rangers says evening, Barnaby. Hello there. Lauren Deb, thank you again for all of your comments. Says Ange's right, they have to stop passing it backwards. Yeah, Phil says Ange was reading the riot act. That's true, wasn't he? And let's face it, one of the consistent themes and messages from Ange Postecoglou since he's been at Tottenham Hotspur has been do not pass backwards. If it's not necessary, do not pass backwards. And he did get angry with them in that first half. Tom Bowdler says, re-penalty. The BBC live feed said definite pen and can't understand how it wasn't given by the on-field officials. Well, one thing that I would say is that I think personally that referees allow the VAR to referee the game for them at times now. They know that if they just don't let the penalty, if they don't give the penalty in the first part, in the first instance, then if it's a howler, if they've made a big mistake, then VAR will get it right. And that will be less scrutiny for them than if they give the penalty, and that makes it then hard for the penalty for the VAR to change it round. Phil C says Ben Davies has been exemplary so far. I completely agree. He also said earlier, quality left back in January, please. Does that mean, Phil, that you've been unhappy with Archie Gray's performance so far? I think he's done pretty well. He's playing that inverted left-back role, which obviously is very difficult. Samuel Shepherd actually says, Gray is learning. He's young. He'll make mistakes. It's how we develop players for the future. I mean, to be totally honest, I don't think he is having a huge problem. It's not his natural position. He's playing the inverted role, popping up a lot in central midfield, but I think he's been pretty okay on the ball. Maybe that's what Ange was angry about. But no, as far as I'm concerned, I think Archie Gray, for his age, is doing pretty well. Although Deb has said Gray is pissing me off, I wouldn't worry too much about it as far as I'm concerned. Just he's very young, and let's give it time. But let me know what you think in the comments. Please do keep your comments coming in, guys. Really enjoying listening to your thoughts as this watch along goes on. Also, let's talk a little bit about the Premier League. Obviously, after that huge 4-0 win against Man City at the Etihad, we then bring Fulham to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium at the weekend. Fulham, a dangerous side, even though they did get beaten 4-1 by Wolves at the weekend. Let me know in the comments what you think will happen in that game. Do you fear that Tottenham will again show their inconsistency as they have this season so far a lot of the time? Samuel Shepherd said earlier in this watch along on the comments, he said, team looking leggy from the City game, plus a lack of coordination in the defensive midfield area with Gray, Sarr and Bentancur. That was about half an hour through that game. I thought Spurs, maybe in the first 10, 15 minutes after that first goal, they looked a little bit like that, but I thought they got back into it pretty well. But I can see what you're saying, that's for sure. Tom Bowler says, what, if anything, do you think will stop Kulu becoming our next truly world-class player? Really great question, Tom. Appreciate that. In fact, so good, I'm going to get it up on screen. Look at that. As if I can't do the technology. I actually have been talking for the last week or two how I think Kulusevski will be our next superstar at Spurs. He has the motivation, he has the attitude, he definitely has the talent. And I just think the way that he's improving, bear in mind, and listen, this I think says how reactive Spurs fans and all football fans can be. A lot of people were suggesting that we should sell Kulusevski as recently as the summer. And as far as I'm concerned, it just shows how we do not see what happens in training every day. We do not see the improvements. We do not see how much desire these players have on a day-to-day basis. And I think Kulusevski, Tom, just to answer your question, I don't think anything will stop him. I really don't. And I was listening to one of the podcasts this week, The Extra Inch, great podcast. And they were talking about how they could see Manchester City wanting a player like Kulusevski to replace De Bruyne. And you could see that. But if they wanted to get Kulusevski out of Spurs, they'd have to pay a ridiculous sum of money now. And I don't think there's a number that City would pay that Levy would accept. Deb says Kulu is a work in progress, definitely a world-class player. I mean, if he's not a world-class player already, he will be. I mean, I've said this a few times down the years as well. If he had an extra yard of pace, my God, what a player he'd be. But I guess the reality is, if Kulusevski had an extra yard of pace, he wouldn't have been let go by Juventus. That is for sure. But thank you, Tom Bowdler, for that brilliant question. Guys, get your questions in. And of course, I will answer them during this halftime and after the game as well in my post-match reaction. I have to say, considering there have been 3 goals in this half, I don't want to put the hex on it, but you'd think, considering how much space there has been in central midfield during this game, as the game gets towards 60 minutes and it opens up and loosens up a little bit, you would only imagine that there will be even more space and really so much room and opportunity on the transition for both teams. Let's talk a little bit about Fraser Forster and that save, guys. Let me know what you've thought about Forster's performance so far in the comments. Got to give him credit for that save, but he looked a little nervy early on, didn't he, when he let that through ball come all the way into his 6-yard box. That was a little bit of a worry for me in terms of his decision-making, coming off his line, diving at the opposition striker's feet. He needs to get better at that. But what I would also say is they are decisions that will get easier the more game time you play. He hasn't played a lot of matches, certainly not a lot of matches in a row. And as a result, he won't quite have it. you know, he won't quite have the pace of the pitches. He won't have the pace of the passes. And I think he will improve. Deb says, Forster making it as best he can. Not Vic, but we have to cut him some slack. Rangers are 3-0 up at Nice. That's an incredible performance from them. And actually, bear in mind, Spurs have to go to Ibrox, and that will be a huge Battle of Britain game. The players are back out on the pitch, and Sonny has them in a huddle. There are no substitutions for Spurs at this halftime that I can see. Guys, like I said earlier, please do give this video a like. Let's get as many people watching as possible. Roma are going to make a substitution, and Sule is going to come on for them. It's just nice to see Spurs in European football, isn't it? Not just because we're winning, but glory, glory nights at the Lane. It's what it's all about. So Spurs now going to be kicking from left to right as we look at it. A lot of the fans not quite back into their seats yet. But let's face it, the beer is nice at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so you can kind of see why. And Bentancur tries to turn Roma straight away and just kicks it off for a goal kick. One thing we've definitely got to do in this second half is keep our eyes on Dybala. What a Rolls Royce of a footballer he is. Such a shame that Spurs didn't get him when we nearly did a few years ago. That was in the Pochettino days, was it? Or was it pre-Pochettino? Not sure. Anyway, Pape Matar now wins it in midfield. Breaks forward. Oh, nearly went to foul, but actually Spurs in good position now with Solanke. He's got men ahead of him. Kulusevski. He's got Porro ahead of him. Yeah, Porro's at the byline now. He's going to have to dink one. No, he has to come back. That was a shame. It was a bit too much on that ball, but Porro does get a cross in the end. It's cleared at the near post. Spurs win it back with Bentancur in midfield, who goes backwards to Dragishin, who will find Davis and does with a good ball. Back in the centre circle now as Davis finds Archie Gray on the left, who has got a lot of stick in the comments, hasn't he? I feel sorry for him a little bit. It's not his natural position, and he's doing certainly the best he can. Oh. Pape Matar under a bit of pressure there. Gives it back to Ben Davis, who gave him a bit of a dodgy pass there, but in the end, Spurs deal with it. It comes back to Fraser Forster. Forster to Dragishin, who's being pressed. Finds Pedro Porro. Finds Kulusevski down the line well. Oh, just a bit too much on it. And well played. Roma now coming forward from central left-hand side of midfield. Oh, a little triple step over there. Nice play from the 17. Shwari gets a big old deep ball across to the back stick here. Roma in a good position. Early cross. Good chance. Brilliant defending at the back post. Pedro Porro, but Spurs have lost it already on the transition. And again now, they're going to get another cross in here, I think, Roma. And well blocked. But Roma win it back again. That was beautiful defending at the back post from Pedro Porro. It looked like Roma would have a free header there. Chance here on the edge of the box. Bentancur gets there first. And Spurs on the transition now and getting bodies forward. It's Solanke driving forward, and it's 4-on-2 here for Spurs. Can Solanke pick out the right ball? Kulusevski's in. It comes to Kulusevski. It's on his right foot. He didn't. Might be a chance. Over the bar from Johnson on the rebound. So Solanke plays it to Kulusevski, and it's Hummels who gets a good tackle in on Kulusevski. That's a shame, though, but that will show what the opportunities are for Spurs as Roma pile bodies forward. We nicked it off them at the edge of the box, just 2 passes, and we were 4-on-2, and really should have picked the passes a little better to make it 3-1. Not clinical enough there, but Solanke did do pretty well. But Sonny was in on the left as well. Roma now. Again, the tempo to this game is really excellent. And Archie Gray does well there with the help of Bentancur. Needs an option. Doesn't really have much here, Archie Gray. Can't give it away. Finds Ben Davis, who chips it out of play. And it's a throw-in to Roma. What a game this is for the neutral, though. I believe it's also 2-2 at Old Trafford in Amorim's first game. Dragishin does well there. Finds Kulusevski, who keeps it on, you know. Yeah, beautiful play from Kulusevski. And Roma thought that he'd stopped, that it would gone out. And Porro tries to find Solanke over the top. Just skids through to the keeper. Oh, and the keeper's clearance finds a Roma player. They're just keeping bodies up the whole time. Oh, and a beautiful crossfield ball. And now they're at us on the right-hand side. Archie Gray is on his own out there. Oh, and they're in down the right. Real chance for Roma. Cut back. And Spurs get the first one. And then they have a shot wide of the post. Yeah, Glenn Hole's just saying it, but it's true. Roma throwing loads of bodies forward. Forster on the ball, and he goes for the big one. No, it's a good kick from Forster. Oh, and in the end, unfortunately, Sonny can't keep it in. It's a throw into Roma on the centre circle. And Roma get it all the way back to their keeper, and Dominic Solanke, as ever, putting on the high press. Good stuff from Roma down the left here. Oh. It's Kone, he's impressed me, Kone, with some of his skills in this game. Can't quite win it from Bentancur then. It's a throw into Spurs. 50 minutes gone. Pedro Porro is going to take it. Please do press like on this video, guys, if you haven't already. Please do give it a like and send all your comments in. Let's get the conversation going in the chat. Porro gives it back to Kulusevski, and Porro loses it there in a tight space. Goes back to Ndicka, and this time it's Johnson putting the press on, but easy for the keeper to go back to Ndicka. It's Roma just knocking it about. Let us know in the comments when you think the subs will start to happen and what will happen. The Spurs win it now. Bentancur, he goes back. Good play from Archie Gray in midfield there. Good stuff from Spurs. And Kulusevski with a lovely ball through to Son, who tries to take it first time and can't take it with him. But that was good football from Spurs. Bad touch from Sonny, which is another collector's item. Man United 3-2 up against Bodo Glimt. Good game there. And look at this. Roma, El Shwari now has lots of space driving forward on the left. And Roma, good chance for a cross here. Cuts it back. Big chance for Roma here. Big chance. Chance. Shot from the edge of the box. Blocked. And good hold-up play from Solanke, and he gets fouled by Hummels. That has been a good battle all game. And Solanke's gone down here. I hope he's okay. Oh, and I tell you what, his thigh gets stretched, his groin gets stretched there. Oh, no. Honestly, the one player we could not afford to get injured this season was Vicario, but the second one is Solanke. And Solanke there, just being fouled from behind by Hummels. His legs kind of got stretched out, and he was holding his groin. Timo Werner warming up on the bench. Okay, I think he's okay, Solanke. Seems to have run it off. And Spurs, lovely ball from Ben Davis into Solanke. Just doesn't hold it up that time. It's the first time we've seen him struggle with that. That's probably not a coincidence after that injury, but now it's Pape Madassar putting the press on instead of Solanke, and the keeper has to go long. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff down the left, and Solanke now has it. He's got no one with him. Yeah, loses the ball this time. Don't foul him, and he does foul him. Been a good start to the second half for Roma, I'd say, even though Spurs have made a really good chance themselves. But Roma just settling in, and once again, that big old diagonal over Archie Gray's head. They're playing that every single time. And Sonny is nowhere near him, helping him out, and they're doubled up. And I think he's offside here, but it's a big chance for Roma. It is a goal for Roma, but I'm pretty sure it's offside. Yeah. Again, Spurs stuck to that 18-yard line. Yeah, really good line from Spurs, and he's miles offside. Do you know what? I'm going to say something that might surprise you here as Forster goes long over the top again, looking for Johnson, comes all the way through to the keeper. Oh, and the keeper tries to take on Johnson there. Bit brave from the keeper, I have to say. And Spurs win the second ball in central midfield with Sarr, who turns away, unfortunately. But actually, then he turns all the way around like Scott Parker and drives forward and then gives a terrible ball cut out by El Shwari. what I was going to say then, as Bentancur will take a booking for that, I would have thought. A foul in central midfield. What I was going to say is, I think, and it's probably going to be controversial, I think with Dragoshin and Davis, they are a lot more concentrated, I'd say, than Christian Romero on sticking on that 18-yard line when the opposition are playing through balls or crosses, or little through ball crosses. And that has saved us 2 goals today. Roma have scored 2 goals that have been disallowed because they've been so impressively stuck on that 18-yard line defending. It's been good stuff from both of them. And as one of you guys said in the comments at halftime, Ben Davis had a really good game so far. Gives us that natural balance as well. But Roma in here down on the left is again and playing the big diag again. And poor old Archie Gray on his own against 3 players at this point. Sonny finally getting in. Good cross chance. Goal, 2-2. And that one won't be disallowed. No, apparently it will be disallowed. Blimey. Let's see about this one. It didn't look offside to me, this one. Yeah, I don't think this one will be disallowed because Ben Davis did drop this time. I don't think this will be disallowed. It's disallowed on the pitch, but I think this will be 2-2. I think Ben Davis dropped too far this time. And just as I was giving them credit for sticking to it, I think this one will be the one where they've made the mistake and gone too deep. I have to say, Spurs have dropped off a bit at the beginning of this half and let Roma have too many opportunities. Roma think this one's onside, and it would not surprise me at all. Yeah, they're making chances, Roma, because they're throwing so many bodies forward, and Spurs just kind of allowing them. And this goal check's going on. Yes, it is offside. Wow. Tottenham Hotspur. And now we've played it already. We're trying to get ourselves in trouble here. Roma have had 3 goals disallowed for offside. And Spurs just kind of dropped off this game about 5 or 10%. And Roma throwing loads of bodies forward. Should be 2-2 really. But Spurs hanging on by their fingernails. Roma popping it about nicely and making chance after chance. And the fans trying to get behind Spurs now. They look a bit leggy at this point. Johnson not helping out his fullback much. Porro thought a ball should be given offside there, but it wasn't. And Roma again with the big diag. And once again, Archie Gray on his own. Sonny nowhere near him. Comes back and they're going to play the cross here. And they're in at the back stick. Well cleared by Porro. And now on the transition, Pape Matasar. Oh, Solanke and Roma have won it off Solanke, and now Spurs are in trouble on the transition. But a bad ball from Roma. I thought Porro could have maybe nicked in there, but he doesn't. El Shwari and Kone and Dybala are playing beautiful stuff for Roma. You have to say. They're going to try. Hummels now plays it across to Ndicka. The Tinkerman on the bench. And Kulusevski cuts out across. And a nice little 1-2 from Spurs, but Kulusevski can't get there ahead of Ndicka. That's a shame. Spurs are just really hanging on the counter-attacking game now. And I have to say, with 57 minutes gone, Sonny is looking leggy and not really getting on the ball much. As Roma, as they have been all game, just playing these big diagonals. And now they're out on the left-hand side with another cross. And it's blocked well by Porro. Comes back to the wide man. Don't foul him. Porro does well. And it's a throw into Roma. Porro does really well there. Yeah. Glenn Hold's talking about the switches of play that Roma are putting on. It's endless and Spurs are struggling with it. And here they come in central midfield. Johnson out wide. Yeah, Roma just bypassing a lot of Spurs' players at the moment. Now finally, Spurs putting some pressure on. This might go back to the Roma keeper. And it does. And Solanke puts a little bit of a press on him. And Sonny now does the same. And is Gray gone with him? He hasn't. It's a good ball into midfield. And good hold-up play there from Roma. But a bad ball. But Son was on his heels. And I tell you what, the ref's given a foul there against Spurs. And I didn't think it was. 58 minutes gone. Roma just popping it about. Plays it out wide easily in behind Son here. And they're in down the right. This is too easy every time. And a chance at the back stick. Huge chance. Hits the bar. Deflected onto the bar. And Pape Matsar drives out now with it. And Spurs have lost it again. Glenn Hoddle really having a go at Spurs for playing as if they've won the game. As Spurs get it down the right now with Kulusevski. He's running it and Ndika into the box. Cuts in on his left. He needs an option. Oh, he plays a horrible pass into Johnson. I think that shot was deflected onto the bar. As I've mentioned so many times this season, Tottenham do not defend their back post. They never defend their back post. And he was absolutely in. Ben Davies has cut out a pass here and he's driving forward, Ben Davies. Wins a huge foul there. Beautiful from Ben Davies. Beautiful. Ben Davies drove the length of the pitch there and just outside the box. Gets fouled by Ndika. And that is why Spurs are going to take the option of Ben Davies's added extra year of his contract. So this free kick is about 23 yards out. Pedro Porro is over it. It's on the it's inside right. So really you'd want a left footer, but Pedro Porro can of course strike them from both sides. Madders, of course, scored one, didn't he, against Villa a few weeks ago. But Kulusevski also standing over this. It is more of a left footer's angle. 1 hour gone in this game. Really open game. Spurs winning, but probably shouldn't be. Roma have had 3 goals disallowed for offside. And Ben Davies just ran the length of the pitch. And also, I'll tell you what, he was fouled a lot closer to the 18-yard box than this. This is more like 26 yards out now. Porro's going to take this, I think. Here he comes. Oh, it's a great hit. Oh, I'll tell you what, flicks the top of the bar. Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful free kick. What a player Porro is. Glenn Hoddle saying on CoComs how Spurs have to press the reset button because they've really let Roma take this game by the scruff of the neck. I wouldn't disagree, Glenn. I wouldn't disagree. 62 minutes gone. As the keeper hits it long. And Roma win yet another ball in midfield in the air. The fullback had no right to do that. Plays it to El Shwari. He's enjoying the freedom of the pitch at the moment. Claudio Ranieri will be very happy with this second half performance so far. Roma now bringing it back in towards the centre of midfield. And then they just drop one in down the line. Beautiful ball into the inside forward channel. Kone, they're playing some beautiful stuff here, Roma. Going to the byline now. Oh, I'll tell you what, TNT Sports has cut out. Oh, and Spurs have won the ball back as TNT Sports cut out to darkness. So they play a ball down the line here, and Sonny is in down the left, and no one's near him. He's holding it up, waiting for some support. Brennan Johnson's getting it. Sonny's beat his man. It's 3-on-2 now. Cut it back. Cut it back. Oh, he played it across the front to Johnson, and in the end, it's magnificent defending out for a corner. Do you know what? I said it was Son, but it's not Son. It's Solanke who was in down the left. Oh. Great football from Spurs and Solanke. Short corner taken. Porro gets a cross in. Oh, comes across the box. Oh, someone gets in the way. Ben Davies has a dig in the end over the bar. Oh, and they're just showing the volley. And do you know what? It was Pedro Porro got in the way of the volley that hit the bar for Roma. Spurs in with Kulusevski down central midfield. He easily glides away from his player. Oh, and he tries to slip Solanke in. Didn't quite work, but comes to Sonny. Game opening up for Spurs as Roma get caught with men ahead of the ball. Archie Gray now. Well, he tries to dink it to the back post. That wasn't the ball. I don't know what he was doing there, Archie Gray, because that was Brennan Johnson at the back. He's never going to win a header at the back stick. That was great stuff from Dominic Solanke on the left. He was hugging the touchline, and the player, the defender, I'm not sure who it was, commits himself. He beats him down the left easily, then drives to the byline, and Johnson makes a good secondary run to the back stick. Solanke tries to find him with a good cross, but the defender just gets in ahead of him, and he could have scored an own goal, but instead flicks it out well for a corner. Roma now making their second substitution of the game. It's one of the wing backs coming off. No substitutes for Spurs as yet. Ange Postecoglou keeping it as it is. Still 2-1 to Spurs. Zalewski is the player who's come on for Roma. Oh, dearie me. Porro is having a wonderful game. And a good flick from Solanke. He just tried to find Kulusevski, but the Roma midfield gets in front of him, and Kulusevski now putting the press on the keeper, who goes long. Oh, and it's over the top, but Ben Davis, it's offside, and Ben Davis brings it down on his chest well. Bentancur to take the free kick quickly. Again, as Ranieri said in his pre-match press conference, Spurs will struggle to let you breathe and be relentless, and that is what Tottenham are doing, taking every free kick quickly, sometimes to our detriment, giving the ball away. But at the moment, I would suggest giving it to Porro every time. He's just tried to set in Johnson. Didn't quite work out, but Porro is having a lovely game. Now, Kone in down the left. Well done again from Pedro Porro. Bentancur in a bit of a difficult position, has to go back to Forster, does well. And they press Forster, and he 50p's it there to Porro, who's in a really horrible position now. Loses the ball. Not a huge surprise after Forster's 50p ball. The cross comes in, well cleared from Ben Davis. No one on the second ball for Spurs. Solanke came deep, but didn't win it. 25 minutes left. Tottenham 2, Roma 1. Fascinating game. It ebbs and flows. It does ebb and flow. Roma playing some good stuff, though. Oh, and Spurs very nearly won it high as Bentancur and Johnson both got near the ball, but instead it comes out to the Roma right-hand side, and they're in. Another chance for a cross. Comes across the box, well defended by Davis at the front post. Got himself in a great position. Again, time and time again, Ben Davis has found himself in a good position. Roma with the throw-in. Throw it back. Spurs letting the ball come all the way to the back stick again. And a big chance on the edge of the box here. Just wide. Spurs hanging on by the edge, the skin of their teeth. Brilliant play from Solanke holding it up now. Gives it into Bentancur. Turns away. Basically, what I'll tell you, and it won't surprise you as Spurs fans, Tottenham struggle against the switch so badly. Any team who can just constantly switch it with good passing, they will get in against us because we just defend so narrow. Forster played a ball into Bentancur there, who gets it away to Dragusin. And that's what Roma are doing so well. Porro plays a nice little ball down. Hummels, who's having a half-decent game, gets ahead of Brennan Johnson. Yeah, Roma just constantly diagonal switches, and Tottenham cannot handle it. And they are bringing on Bissouma and Maddison now, 67th minute. Who's coming off? Johnson and Sarr. So Kulusevski will go out wide right. Madders come in central. And Bissouma will presumably push Bentancur into kind of more of the 8 position, and Bissouma will get closer to his back line. Oh, good stuff from Roma in down the left-hand side. Porro working hard, and it's a throw-in. And El Shaarawy has been taken off for Roma. Surprised at that. I think he's played really well. But Roma, as ever, popping the ball about nicely. Spurs still working hard, though, trying to put them under pressure. all the time as they dink it over the top. Good stuff from Roma. And again, the big old crossfield ball finds 2 players in on the right for Roma. This time Sonny's in a decent position. Comes back. It's going to be another cross. And again, Spurs not defending the back post. Comes all the way across. Now Roma on the edge of the box. And another cross to the back post. And it's a free header, but easily saved by Forster. Glenn Hoddle suggesting that Ange just brought on Madders in an attempt to keep the ball a bit better. Well, I'd suggest Spurs should just try and keep the ball better. As Dragoshin goes with a mid-range ball into central midfield. Easily beaten. Solanke there. I think it was Hummels again. And they go back to the keeper. He goes long into midfield. And this time, the ball drops to Dragoshin. And Bissouma's got to be careful, but he turns away nicely. And then plays a very weird ball, but it somehow gets... And Spurs are in here with Madders, who puts through Solanke. And can he cut it back to Madders? Cut it back! Solanke should have cut that back to Madders, who was completely free. There's Madders. Can he cut it back to him? One thing I'd say is, though, we make Solanke so few chances that you can understand why when he had a sight a goal there with his left foot, he had a dig. And anyway, it's a corner, but Spurs have taken it quickly. Madders now on the edge of the box. Plays it across to Porro. He'll have a dig here. Oh, and he tries to place it over the bar. Don't forget, guys, after this watch-along, I'll be doing a post-match reaction, and then I'll be interviewing some Spurs fans from around the world, and that'll finish at about 10 to 11. Then at 11 o'clock, Chris Callan will be here with his usual Spurs Chat podcast, some of his regulars on, so make sure you carry on tuning into this after the game, but also to Chris at 11 o'clock. Do give this video a like if you haven't already, and you're enjoying this watch-along, guys. Enjoying doing it with you guys. Spurs now. Struggling to put this game to bed, and Roma looking dangerous. They play yet another crossfield ball. And Dika now. Good ball, but well cut out by Bentancur. He tries to turn away. Now he's in a little bit of trouble, but finds Porro beautifully, who tried to put Kulusevski in, but got too much on it, and Roma defend it with Hummels. Oh, and that's a bad foul from Bentancur. If he's already been booked, he's in all sorts of trouble. Oh, and it's a great cross, but Forster claims the cross well. I think Bentancur will be booked here. Has he been booked already in this game? No. He probably should have been booked earlier in the game, so he's a bit lucky there, Bentancur. It's a bad tackle. Well, yeah, he was. He was booked and he should have been. Bentancur almost channeling the frustration of being banned for 7 games from English football there. Ranieri's not happy. 18 minutes to go here. Oh, and Ranieri wants VAR on Bentancur. It wasn't a sending off, that's for sure. And Ranieri talking to the referee, trying to get Bentancur sent off, but it wasn't a red card. It was late, that's for sure. He didn't need to make it. Spurs just need to try and get this 3rd goal. Yeah, it's a stupid tackle from Bentancur, but it's not a red card. And Ranieri, I think, is just clutching at straws a little bit there. Come on, Tottenham. I kind of feel like we should be in control of the game, playing the ball around and letting Roma try and, you know, shove bodies forward to nick the ball off us. But it feels a little bit like the other way, like we're letting them have most of the ball and we're trying to nick it off them, which is a little bit un-Ange-like. But of course, it did work for us against Man City. Anyway, Forster now has the ball. Throws it wide to Ben Davis. looking for an option, turns away. And it has to go back to Forster on his left foot. He'll have to go long, and he does. Solanke now up against Hummels. He won't get much there, and it goes back to Ndika and back to the Roma keeper. The game has slowed down a little bit, as I guess you'd expect in the 74th minute with tired legs. Spurs wanting an offside flag there, and they get one as Roma try and play a mid-range ball over the top. Oh, and the linesman there's an incredible moustache. Porro now breaking forward from the right. And he tried a big old diag there of crossfield ball, and it was blocked, and it goes to the Roma keeper pretty easily. And my screen is buffering a little bit. Oh, losing a bit of play here. Hopefully it'll come back on in a second. I can tell you guys, while I'm waiting for my screen to come back on, it is Tottenham 2, Roma 1, 75th minute. The goals were scored by Brennan Johnson and a Son Heung-min penalty. And now I have my screen back. Here we go, Bissouma in central midfield. And it's gone away again. Please do press that like button, guys. If you haven't already, please do press the like button. Please do subscribe to Chris's channel and to my channel as Bissouma finds Sonny on the left-hand side. Archie Gray making him a run outside, and Sonny just gives him a difficult ball, and that's going to... Well, that is a corner, actually, if the ref calls that right. And the ref hasn't called that right, because that did hit Mancini last. Oh, and the Lino's got that right, and it is a corner to Spurs. Yeah. Well spotted, the Lino. Mancini did get the last touch on it. And come on, a lucky corner for Spurs. Can we take advantage of it? Let's try and take advantage of this. Come on, Spurs. Get a good delivery in. Madders on the ball. Madders wondering if anyone's going to come short for him. Dragoshin's in the box. Around Solanke. Bentancur and Ben Davis, of course, in there as well. Madders is going to try the in-swinger. 76 minutes gone. Everyone crowding around the penalty spot. It's an in-swing, good effort. And it's cleared by the Roma player, I thought, for a corner. But actually, the ref's given it. Well, what's happened here? Something weird has happened here. The ref's given a goal kick. Madders was then kind of weirdly taken out off the ball by the looks of things. And Spurs bringing on Bergvall and Timo Werner. For Sonny. And... well, who's that going to be? Sonny, of course, scored the opening goal of this game from the penalty spot after 2 minutes. He is now being replaced by Timo Werner on the left-hand side. Now, who is the second? No, it's Bentancur has come off. Well, I guess maybe he's been taken off because he's on a yellow card and he's diving around a little bit. So Bergvall bringing us a bit of legs in central midfield, but it's a pressurized last 15, 16 minutes or so for Bergvall. Let's see how he does. Roma go long with their goal kick. Well won by Dragoshin and well held up by Solanke, who puts it in for Madders. He's got players coming up to help him here as Madders tries to play a ball across the front, and it's bad. And Roma on the transition, but a bad ball from Roma. Madders had a good opportunity there, and he tries to play a bit of a paradise left-footed ball from the left-hand side of the pitch to the right to put us in, and it was easily cut out, unfortunately. Roma have only won once in 23 attempts against English sides in England. But Porro now, well played to Bissouma, does well, gives it to Davis, who asks Archie Gray to get away from him, but actually Gray comes and helps him, gives it back to Davis, gives it to Dragoshin, who's got to find Porro first time here, and does, and now Porro needs options. Porro and Bissouma play some lovely stuff between them. I love that. And Bissouma gets it back off him. Lovely stuff from Spurs. And a couple of fouls there. Oh, and the ball nearly broke to Brennan Johnson. Oh, Solanke, sorry, but he was just on his heels. But some lovely stuff in midfield between Bissouma and Pedro Porro there. Really enjoyed that. as Porro wins a header and gets it back straight away from Hummels. Oh, beautiful ball down the line from Porro to Kulusevski. He's some player, is Porro. And I don't know what Kulusevski is trying with his right foot there, but he's hacked it out of play. Madders had made a good run for him as well in the inside right channel if he could have just played an easy ball, but I think Kulusevski's confidence got the better of him there and tries to curl a perfect right-footed cross in, and he just kind of 50p's it out for a goal kick. 10 minutes, 11 minutes or so of normal time, but I think they'll find a good 5 or 6 minutes of added time in this Europa League game between Spurs and Roma. It's Tottenham 2, Roma 1. Bergvall tries to bring the ball down on his chest in central midfield. It bounces off him, and now Roma are coming forward, and they've got 4 men forward here. Well cleared from Davis, and lots of people out of the game here for Roma, and Maddison running forward, puts it to Werner, who can drive at his fullback here with his pace. They're just dropping off him here. Good stuff as Archie Gray gets outside him. Oh my God. Solanke has hit the bar from 2 yards. What a cross it was from Archie Gray. It's just behind Solanke, you know. It's just behind Solanke, and he hits the bar. And now Spurs in down the right with Basuma, who chips it up to the far post. It's easily cleared, but now comes to Madders on the edge of the box. He's wearing the captain's armband now. Gets it out to Werner, who tries a little dink, but there's nobody there. But Roma clear it straight to Porro, who has a great hit. And well saved by the keeper. Didn't quite catch it, as Glenn Hall says. Roma now playing it through central midfield. And looking for the big diag again. Bergvall pressing the Roma midfielder. Comes back to Ndicka. He's looking for that big left-footed long crossfield ball. And now they eventually play it over the top. And Roma are in here. It was a beautiful first touch and good defending from Archie Gray. And Porro clears it. Gray helped out his centre-half there, and that was good stuff. Bit easy for Roma to get in over the top of our high line there. But we did well. Comes out to Roma's left-hand side now. And they're trying the long ball over the top. Well cleared by Gray again, and Madders gets a secondary touch on it. Hummels with a good ball and gets Roma on the front, but they're offside there. Good line from Tottenham. Mancini having a go at the Lino, who has that magnificent moustache. Can't have a go at a Lino with a good moustache, if you ask me. I have to say, I said at half-time, I hope I don't put the hex on it by saying I think there'll be lots more goals, but there haven't been any. But Roma have had 3 goals disallowed for offside in this game, as Forster puts Dragusin in a bit of a dicky position. And he finds Kulusevski. That'll be a throw to Roma. Yeah. No, it was a throw to Roma, and they've taken it quickly. So they play it again across their back line. Hummels plays a nice inside ball, and Hummels goes for the return this time. Out of position, but they keep the ball with Kone. Quite a stressful game for Spurs here. Bergvall puts the press on. And then unnecessarily, and kind of doesn't foul the Roma player, but the ref does give it, because the Roma player tried a trick and passed it inadvertently straight to Spurs player. And I think he got himself out of jail by feeling a touch from Bergvall when it wasn't really there, and he throws himself to the floor. Anyway, Roma back on the ball now in midfield, fronting up Maddison and Werner. He looked offside there again, the Roma player, but the liner doesn't give it this time. And that is a corner. And that's what frustrates me a little bit. It's good defending from Ben Davis, but linesmen don't give offsides that are offside now, knowing that, you know, if a goal gets scored, they don't want to stop that. But also it means that some of these corners aren't and shouldn't be corners. And this is a dangerous opportunity for Roma to get an in-swinger in on Spurs. And of course, they did score their goal from a set piece. Here it comes. It's a good ball straight to the middle. Well cleared. Looked like it was Bergvall clearing that. And that is a shot, kind of an overhead kick over the bar from, I think, Paredes there. But was that Lucas Bergvall clearing that corner in the air? Looked like a shock of blonde hair to me. Roma fans enjoying the performance their team have put in here, enjoying their trip to North London. But Tottenham need to see this out. And again, the ball comes to Bergvall and he misses his header in midfield. Strength from Bassoon, but it comes wide left to Roma. Good chance to get the ball in the box here for Roma. And it's cleared well at the back post from Archie Gray. And Werner goes over to help him. Another chance to get a cross in for Roma here, but they choose not to. Out wide right. Fronting up Archie Gray. And the cross comes all the way across to the back post. Roma just moving us about as they have done a lot of this second half. And good football outside the box, but Porro sees it well. And then Kulusevski is a little slow and Roma win it back again. And Bergvall, I tell you what, I thought it was a foul, but it's not given. And now Solanke's through. But what are you doing, Solanke? And Spurs are giving it away on the transition by trying to be too quick. That's madness. And Roma in down the right now. Chance for a shot. Well blocked by Archie Gray. He's had a good second half. Roma win the ball back again straight away, though. And that has been the case all this half. And now they're in on the left again. Another chance for a cross. This one is just chipped up to the keeper, though. Forster claims that easily, and he's looking for something quick. Is it on? No, he puts his hat on it and just stops. And finds Pedro Porro. 85 minutes gone. Glenn Hoddle once again asking for Spurs to show some professionalism and just keep the football. And Basuma trying to do silly stuff. In danger of losing the ball, but turns away again. And plays a beautiful ball to Bergvall. And can he find the diag? Beautiful diag from Bergvall into Timo Werner, who's totally on his own down the left. Fronting up his defender now. Goes to the byline. Oh, just straight down the keeper's throat. That was a lovely ball from Lucas Bergvall, though. Oh, beautiful stuff from Roma down central midfield, but Basuma, wonderful stuff. Into Porro. Kulusevski now in on the right-hand side, fronting up his defender, who's showing him the line. And Kulusevski doesn't mind taking that option on, but cuts inside. He wants to have a shot, Decky, and it's deflected easily into the keeper's arms. We're into the last 4 minutes of normal time. Spurs look a bit leggy. I was pleased to see Bergvall with the big diag, though. But it's Roma who've been playing the big diags all game, and now they're in at Archie Gray once again. Shows him the outside. This time he cuts inside the Roma forward. And here comes the first time cross from Roma again. Over. Oh, no, Porro, what have you done? Oh, my God, Pedro Porro, for the second game in a row, tries to head it back to his keeper. And thank God, Forster that was madness. But Roma now in the box. And Spurs panicking a bit here. But Bergvall puts his foot on it. Oh, no. Kulusevski tries to turn away after Porro found him the ball. And they're in here, Roma. Big chance. All the way to the back post. And Werner did well to get in there. And actually, Roma are offside. So just to tell you what happened, the ball came across. Porro had a free header. And he tries to head it back to Forster. But the striker foresaw what he was going to do. Makes the little run. And in the end, Forster's big frame, I think, basically put the striker off. That's the second game in a row, if I'm right, that Porro's tried that. And actually, the first game was because of that where Vicario got his injury. I think Porro needs to just stop trying to head it back to his keeper, basically, and especially in the last 3 minutes of big games that we need to win. Okay, the free kick is whacked forward from Forster. Roma win it once again, but a good tackle from Bergvall. But Roma take their throw in quickly and go back to Ndika. I have to say, Solanke is trudging about. Looks absolutely shattered at this point. As they play the big diag again, and it's always on, but this time it goes out of play. And I wouldn't mind Spurs just taking a little bit of time over this. 88 minutes gone. The Tinkerman on the bench looking frustrated. But they put in a good performance here, Roma. Tactically pretty astute in terms of how to cause Spurs trouble. Spurs lose the ball in central midfield again, and it comes back to Ndika. Comes to the left-hand side now. And back inside Roma. Kone again with the big diag over Timo Werner towards Archie Gray. Werner is helping out Archie Gray more than Sonny was to the back end of his performance, to be fair. But Sonny looked knackered as it comes out. Another chance for Roma to get a cross in, but they balk at it and come back centrally again. Kone brings it out to the left-hand side. A good run in behind Spurs into the byline now. And a good cross, but Basuma, stand up, Basuma. Does well twice there, Basuma. But somehow Spurs losing so many of the 50-50s all game today. And then a good chance here for a cross. Doesn't take it on. Comes to Kone in narrow. And now comes all the way across. And Roma have so many men forward. Pretty much all their men forward at this point. Spurs backs to the wall. Chance for a cross on the right. Werner's fronting him up. Werner's been beaten easily there. Here comes a cross to the back post. We don't mark our back post. And that time it's blocked by Pedro Porro. Gives it the double fist bump. Here comes the corner. Here comes the corner. All the way in. Headed by Roma. Oh, I tell you what, it's deflected header. And actually, we had a chance to clear that before it went off for a corner. It was Hummels' header deflected. I don't think the Spurs defender thought it had been deflected. He lets it go off for another corner. There are 5 added minutes to see out. Here comes the next corner to the back stick. Free header at the back stick, but Bergvall for the second time does really well. Chance! Oh, what a save from Fraser Forster! What a save! The ball comes, it's 6 yards out on the volley, and my God, I tell you what, I haven't seen many better saves than that. He's absolutely leathered it. Here comes the next corner. Bergvall's won his 3rd header in the air. Chance for Roma at the back stick, puts him down the left. This is all goal. Hummels. And you have to say Roma have deserved it. You have to say it, but it's a shame after that huge save from Forster. You have to say they deserve it because they've been knocking at the door. They've had 3 goals disallowed. And in the end, the corner, as each time we head the corner out, it comes to a Roma player. And this time they've just whacked it across the box. And they had 3 men at the back stick. Totally free. Here comes the corner. It's an in-swinger. Bergvall wins his 3rd one. It comes to the 56 on the edge. He lays it out wide. And he just absolutely whacked it. And Basuma's keeping him onside at the back stick, Hummels. 2-2. Disappointing for Spurs. And Basuma's in a... Yeah, I mean, it's not Basuma's fault. It's just... It's where he would be. Now, can Spurs make this a glory, glory night and try and push on for a win here? I fear the opposite, but let's see what happens. That's Hummels with the equalizer. You can't say they don't deserve it. 3 minutes to go in this added time. Can Spurs make themselves a chance? They've been poor in the last few, like in the last 20, 25 minutes, to be honest, Spurs. Anyway, Porro finds Solanke. Back to Porro. Plays a good ball to Kulusevski. He just loses it and then trips up his man. But actually, it wasn't a trip. He dived over. Basuma now plays it into Bergvall. Is in a good position. Finds it to Madders, I think. And Werner's in a good position on the left now. He's fronted up by a lot of players. Tries to get to the byline. And then a very weird cross from Werner. Poor on his left foot. Very poor. Straight into the side netting. Tell you what, I fear that Roma will make another chance here. I really fear it. Fair play to the Roma player for that goal who just whacked it across the box, knowing if you just whack it. But they did have 4 men free at the back. It's such a shame for Forster, who just made an unbelievable save. And gutting for Tottenham, who really needed this win. But I don't think Spurs have done enough to win this game. Archie Gray, central midfield. Needs help, and he's fouled. 1.5 minutes left. Tottenham punished for not making the most of quite a few opportunities on the transition. But you have to say, with Roma having had 3 goals disallowed, you'd say a draw would be at least a fair result for them. Anyway, comes to Werner on the left. Madders finds him. Back to Madders. And I am buffering, I'm afraid to say. Terrible time to be buffering. And it looks like Spurs have won a corner, have they? With 1 minute and 15 seconds left. Come on, let's make this a glory, glory night. make it one of those really fun ones. Fans look a little bit disappointed at the moment, but let's see what can happen. Porro's going to take this an outswinger. Oh, nearly comes to Bergvall, who we now know is good in the air, but it comes out to Kulusevski. Don't foul him, Decky. Oh, dear, we've let them get away, but Basuma does well. Find a pass here, Eve. Oh, finds Porro. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Porro's giving it away. And Roma now. Oh, Maddison's done really well. Maddison's done beautifully. And then played the most difficult ball when there was an easier ball on. And Hummels read it. And Bergvall with an important tackle there. Really important tackle from Bergvall to stop the transition. 20 seconds left. Looking very much like this will finish Tottenham 2, Roma 2. Which is a disappointing result for Spurs, considering how long we were leading for. It has been an entertaining game, that is for sure. But never like conceding a late goal. But like I said, you have to say Roma deserved it. Now, will they make a late chance with Ndicka running forward? Dinks it down the line. And Dragusin should see that out. And does. Oh, 2 balls on the pitch now. As Forster wants to do something quickly. And he finds Ben Davis. Who finds Yves Basuma, who gets pressed. And that is the end of the game. And you have to say, a disappointing result in the end for Tottenham Hotspur. But Claudio Ranieri clearly has got the Roma players playing for him. They made a lot of chances. They really did. And in the end, you would have to say that Roma, with Mats Hummels scoring the equalizer in the 92nd minute, deserved at least a point from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight. Spurs were not clinical enough when they made their chances. And I mean specifically chances that they had at 2-1 up and opportunities that they had to really put this game to bed, basically. So in reality, against teams like Roma, if you don't put your chances to bed, then you will not win the game. And that is what happened today. Let me just do this before I get into an instant match reaction. As always, guys, Chris Cowlin will be around for the 11 o'clock Spurs chat podcast. But this is my instant match reaction to the Tottenham Hotspur 2, Roma 2 game. It looked like Tottenham were going to squeeze their way to a 2-1 victory against a team who popped the ball about nicely all game, who looked like they were playing for their manager despite them having had a very difficult season so far. But in the end, a second half fight back from Roma right at the end of the game is what really led to that non-victory, to that draw, basically. And excuse me for being a little bit disappointed, but frankly, Tottenham had enough chances. They really did. They had enough chances to make the absolute most of that and take another 3 points in the Europa League. Let's go through the game. Back in the second minute, Tottenham were 1-0 up. We got to the byline, a beautiful cutback from Pedro Porro, and Pape Matar made one of his very few runs into the box all game, and he did really well, got his foot in there before Mats Hummels, who took him out, and it was a penalty to Tottenham Hotspur. It took a couple of minutes for the VAR to agree, but once the VAR had agreed, Son Heung-min stepped up and slotted home his penalty, 1-0 Tottenham Hotspur. And then the first kind of 10 minutes or so, and actually a lot of the game, were basically like a basketball match. So much high tempo stuff, Roma popping it about nicely. And one kind of mainstay of this game was that Roma knew that if they kept switching the ball left to right, right to left, big diags, that Tottenham always defend narrow across the pitch. So there were so many opportunities created from Roma from those big diagonal balls. And with players like El Shwari, players like Dybala, they really made the most of that. Going on, though, in the 12th minute, Dybala really kind of had his first shot of the game, and he played beautifully in that first half. He kind of went away a little bit in the second half. It was just wide with a shot in the 12th minute, but that was offside anyway. Then he had a shot from the halfway line in the 14th minute, trying to catch Fraser Forster off his line, but couldn't do so. In the 15th minute, Johnson, with some really good play, got the ball across the box, but Son Heung-min hadn't quite made the right run for him, and so nothing came about from it. And then just kind of pretty much the only mistake of the game, really, from Fraser Forster in the 17th minute, where a ball was played through in the inside right channel from Roma. And he should have just come and claimed it on the ground easily, but it came all the way into his 6-yard box. And in the end, he had to kind of make a save from a shot, point blank range, from about 3 yards out. And that just showed a little bit of a lack of confidence from Forster in terms of coming out and claiming balls within his own box. And it had been coming, and in the 19th minute, Roma did equalize. It was an unnecessary free kick given away by Radu Dragusin, and Ndika scored the header from the Dybala free kick in off the bar, and nothing more than Roma deserved. And actually, they should have perhaps or nearly went 2-1 up after 22 minutes when El Shwari had a right foot volley, brilliant finish, disallowed. And that was because of Tottenham's 18-yard back line, who always stick to their 18-yard box, the edge of the box. And time again, in fact, 3 times during this game, Spurs caught Roma offside when they would have scored goals had VAR not been there. In the 25th minute, there was a goal line scramble, amazing bit of play where Angelino twice cleared the ball off the line for Roma from Brennan Johnson and Dominic Solanke. Then in the 27th minute, a huge save from Forster, really putting to bed all of our talk about him not being able to get down to shots anymore, as Dybala had a great shot down, and it went down to Forster's left. He got there and got a big hand on it. In the melee afterwards, Deki Kulusevski was booked. Then in the 28th minute, Pape Matar won the ball high, ran at the defense, had a shot with his left foot when maybe he should have got his head up and looked to find Deki Kulusevski and Son, who were free. And that was kind of in keeping with a lot of possibilities during the rest of the game where Spurs players were kind of through. But if they just got their head up and found one more pass, I think they would have scored another goal. In the 33rd minute, that's when we scored our second goal. Beautiful finish from Johnson. Deki Kulusevski got to the byline after a beautiful long-range pass from Sarr. Got to the byline, Kulusevski cut it back, and Johnson swept it home on his left foot. He's an elite finisher, Brennan Johnson. Beautiful goal. Spurs 2-1 up. After 35 minutes, maybe we should have been 3-1 up as Kulusevski ran at the back line on the left, shot across the keeper. It hits the post, comes back out to Son Heung-min. And he actually, it's like a collector's item, this one. I've said it tonight already during the watch-along. He leant back when he's just 12 yards out. All he has to do is keep it low, and it goes in, and it goes over the bar. Beautiful play between the lines from Spurs. Sonny then had another chance on the 39th minute, tries to place it classically far corner from the left-hand side, but the keeper tips it wide. And it was, as always, Kulusevski winning the ball high that set up that move. In the 43rd minute, a similar kind of right foot bending shot from Deki just wide of the far left-hand post. And then in the 45th minute, maybe a little bit of a sign of what was to come, as a free header came to Mats Hummels from another unnecessary free kick that Spurs gave away. But he headed it wide and over. Then going into the second half, Spurs, as early as the 47th minute, were 4-on-2 against Roma going into their back line. Solanke passed it to Deki Kulusevski, and it was just a little bit behind in the pass. And in fact, maybe Solanke should have gone to the left where Sonny was. And Hummels got back, and he played really well for Roma overall, not just because he ended up scoring the equalizer, but that was a huge tackle to stop Spurs going 3-1 up. And then really, for a long time, it was a lot of Roma, really. They had a shot from outside of the box just wide in the 49th minute. Solanke got injured and ran it off, but that was in the 51st minute. That was a bit of a worry. Then came the next disallowed goal for Roma, 53rd minute. Like I said, that 18-yard box defending from Ben Davis and Radu Dragusin and the rest of their backline did really well. That was 53rd minute. A third one disallowed from them in the 54th minute. That one was even tighter. Looked to me like he might be onside, but we just got away with it. The 59th minute, Roma hit the bar, as ever, with Spurs not defending our back stick. And the ball came across on the volley, and Pedro Porro got his body in the way, and it was deflected onto the bar. Very fortunate for Tottenham Hotspur. Then in the 60th minute, a chance for a free kick as Ben Davis kind of saw a pass, intercepted it, and then ran the length of the pitch, fouled just outside the box, and Pedro Porro hits the free kick, and it grazes the top of the bar. Amazing free kick from Porro. Really good for Spurs to have free kick takers now, like Porro, like James Maddison, who we know can cause opposition's damage. Solanke in the 62nd minute was in down the left, beat his man beautifully, and then tried to find Porro with one of those kind of classic Ange ball crosses across the box to Brennan Johnson, but the defender just did really well. Again in the 66th minute, Tottenham not marking the back post. A shot came from the edge of the box just wide. Like I've just written here, Spurs struggling against the switch all game. And then the substitutes started. 67th minute, Bissouma and Madders came on for Johnson and Sarr. Another chance at the back post, easily saved by Forster in the 69th minute. Then in the 70th minute, Madders put Solanke in. Should have cut it back, but he blasted it straight at the keeper. I talked about this earlier in the review, didn't I? So many chances where Spurs probably should have just taken one more pass on it rather than taking the shot. And that was the case with Solanke there for sure. And Madders was absolutely free. And I think we would have scored the third then, and we really regretted that. In the 76th minute, Bergvall and Werner came on for Sonny and Bentancur. 80th minute, a great cross dug out from Archie Gray, just behind Solanke. He tries to head it, hits the bar from only about 3 yards, really unlucky. Then the minute after, a right foot volley from Porro, saved by the keeper. And then we got into the last minutes, and it was really squeaky bum time. To be honest, I would say that as a Spurs fan, I felt pretty sure that Roma would find a way of equalising, and they did, in fact, do that. But it was just before that, actually, in the 87th minute, where Porro made an incredible decision to try and head it back to Fraser Forster when the striker was right next to Fraser Forster, and we were lucky not to concede from that. Then Porro got a good block on a back post shot in the 89th minute. Then in the kind of first minute of added time, there were 5 minutes of added time, Fraser Forster made what I mean, it still might be the save of the season, but unfortunately kind of blighted by the fact that we conceded just after. But it was an unbelievable save from about 6-8 yards out on the volley. Whoever volleyed it absolutely leathered it. Forster tips it over the bar. And then, unfortunately, the dagger to the heart, Hummels' goal at the back post. As ever, Tottenham do not mark their back post. Really unfortunate. But in the end, I'd have to say 2-2, probably a fair result. I'll just go into the comments a little bit before I get into some interviews with some of the Spurs fans from around the world who have tuned in. Guys, as I always say, please do keep tuned in. Get your comments in. I'll try and answer as many as I can. Please do give this video a like if you haven't already. Subscribe to Chris Cowlin's channel if you're not already a subscriber for daily Spurs content. And if you'd like the cut of my jib during this watch along, go to YouTube /@Barnaby Slater _ for daily Tottenham content from me. At 11 o'clock tonight, Chris Cowlin will be back with his usual Spurs Chat podcast. So make sure you keep waiting for that. Mike Barrow says, brilliant performance, at least from you, Barnaby. Come on, you Spurs. I appreciate that. Neil G says it's all too, and the word that I refuse to use, Spurs with a Y on the end. Kazafi Barry says, Maddison is done. Not sure about that. Kev G says, utter dross, delusion of being a decent side. I mean, for me, that is a little bit too negative. One of the sad things about that draw, that does mean that Spurs are now down to 9th in the Europa League table, and you want to be in the top 8 if you want to stop that having to go into a 2-legged playoff. And of course, we've still got to go to Hoffenheim. We still got to go to Ibrox, 2 very difficult away games. Kev G, I don't fully agree that was utter dross. I don't think Spurs were great personally, but also I think Roma were an improved side. I think they enjoyed playing in a game where there was less pressure on them against a team that they were supposed to lose to realistically. And they popped it about nicely. Charles Squared says, inconsistent once again. Sean, Maddison had no impact. I mean, we did hear from Ange Postecoglou before the game, didn't we, that Maddison got a kick in the game against Manchester City. So I don't think we can really expect Maddison to do too much. He also only got like 20 minutes at the end of the game. Jordan Kalen Evans, thank you for writing in, says, to get this consistency we talk about, we need to learn to see out games. Another disappointing night. That is true. I agree with that. Deb says, according to the stats, Roma did not outplay us. James Cook says, Barnaby, bored by my watch along. Well, James, thank you for your engagement at the very least. Daniel Huang, thank you for writing in, says, just when you thought 2 wins in a row was coming, we pull a classic Spurs move. Daniel has also said earlier, Roma outplayed us. David Marshall says, lucky to get a draw. The inconsistency in this side is shocking. Yes, we are inconsistent, and that's true. And Ange has been very, very open about the fact that there will be ups and downs and there will be inconsistency. But we are talking about a Serie A side. We're talking about a player like Mats Hummels, one of the great players of the last decade in European football. We're talking about Dybala, really good players, and playing against a young side. And he made a good few changes, didn't he, Ange? So listen, it's not a great result by any means. It's a disappointing result, especially because, of course, we lost it at the end there. But also, listen, we didn't lose it. It could be worse. And I think the lack of rhythm of these players who don't play together all the time, that wasn't by any means the first team. That does affect us. You can see that in every single one of our Europa League games this season. There's just a lack of continuity, a lack of knowing where each player is going to be. But listen, we did have enough chances on the transition to win this game. There is absolutely no doubt about that, and we should have been more clinical. And listen, the big difference was against Man City at the week, we were clinical with our chances. Vito Danu says, you can see clearly Porro's so tired, lost concentration a few times. I thought he had a good game, I have to say, Porro. Let's see what else. Sean says, arrogant performers, no leaders. Tom Bowdler, yeah, looking for some positives. Solid 90 minutes for the goal. Yeah, I thought Fraser Forster, like, unbelievable save at the end there, as I mentioned, and did pretty well with the ball at his feet as well. So look, when it comes to it, you've got to try and take your positives. But let's get into talking to some Spurs fans from around the country. And I'm going to start with Steve Smirk. Steve, are you there? Can you hear me?
Definitely, I can hear you, Barnaby.
Top man. Thank you so much for tuning in and getting involved, Steve. Tell the fans where you're watching from. It's the Czech Republic, I believe. And
That's right.
what
it's not from Prague. It's from a town called Olomouc. But yes, I watched the game and enjoyed it to an extent. But it was predictable that we didn't take our chances. We weren't clinical enough. We didn't kill it off, and they came back and got a deserved equalizer in the end.
And Steve, how do you feel about, what a lot of people in the comments are talking about in terms of the inconsistency? What do you think that's down to? Would you put it down to, young squad, young team, and like I said, a lack of kind of continuity and decision-making in terms of team selection for the Europa League that means that we're just not quite as, I would say, sure of ourselves, certainly through the centre of midfield?
Yeah, most definitely. It's obviously when he's making these changes, and he has to make the changes, that the players aren't used to playing together. And there's not a lot of consistency, with the movement and the play. I was particularly disappointed, although, with Solanke's decision-making in the final third and the chance in the 47th minute, I believe it was, when we were playing 4 against 2. I thought, here we go, we're going to kill it here, 3-1. And between them, they kind of messed it up, if you like. And later on, his ball to Johnson at the far post got cut out by a defender. I thought he could have done better with that. The header he had was very awkward. He was kind of leaning away from the goal. I think we've been spoiled, or at least I have, by Harry Kane sort of putting those chances away. So
yeah, I've talked about this actually quite a lot before on my videos, Steve, where it's almost like, for me, Spurs fans, sorry, we have to kind of change our opinions of what a good chance is, because Harry Kane, what were half chances were good chances, and now we have to realize. Now, that's not me saying that, for instance, the header from Dominic Solanke shouldn't have gone in, but it was a little bit behind him, and you can see he's really stretching to do everything he can, isn't he? I'm not really sure he could necessarily have done more. What do you think in terms of the overall, Steve? Do you think that was a kind of fair result in the end, or do you think maybe Roma might have deserved more?
No, I think we dominated the game in certain periods of the game, and we should have finished them off, if you like, 3-1, perhaps 4-1. But they did definitely deserve the draw. They a couple of offside goals. They hit the crossbar with that deflection, the reflex save towards the end by Fraser Forster. I know he gets a lot of stick, but that was a fantastic save, albeit no, I wouldn't have did to win. No, I think the draw was a fair result.
Okay, and in terms of some people in the comments, obviously, and I'd say rightly, talking about the injuries. Obviously, Ange is not left with a lot of options, certainly, to come off the bench. Only really kind of Maddison and Basuma, Werner and Bergvall. You wouldn't say about Werner and Bergvall that they're the ideal people to try and finish off a game. I mean, except for in terms of Werner's pace down the left, maybe. So is it worth really kind of taking into account those injuries that we have, or would you say actually we should have had enough to win today?
That's a difficult one. See, the thing is, on paper is one thing, and actually in a game, they've got a lot of talented players. Luckily for us, they had to withdraw Dybala because he was running the midfield to an extent.
He was.
No, I thought we did well with what we had. Obviously, missing Romero and Van der Ven at the back. is a huge loss. But I will say that I thought Bentancur was probably our best player tonight. The way he was breaking up the play and turning things around and getting things moving. I thought he played extremely well. So definitely not like second string for me.
Steve, have you got any way of lifting your camera a bit so we can just see the rest of your face? Your mouth is lovely, Steve, but we also want to see your glorious eyewear.
It's the rest of my face. So I just slipped down there a little bit. I'm in a recliner after that. I have to recline after that performance.
No, and rightly so. In terms of going forward, then, Steve, where do you think that leaves us in terms of trying to get into this top 8 of this ridiculous 32-team format? Do you feel confident that we will break our way back into that, even though we've still got games to go to Ibrox and to Hoffenheim, or are you a little worried we might end up with a 2-leg playoff?
I'm not so concerned with the Hoffenheim game as more as to the Rangers game. I believe they also won 4-0 tonight.
Yeah,
Rangers. It's a difficult place to go to. So that it's difficult to say. Or the Rangers game. I'm quietly confident. It depends on who we can play, who we can put out, who we can field in those games.
I've just seen that Spurs have sent Archie Gray out for the post-match interview. Certainly during the first half, at half-time, a lot of the comments coming in were suggesting Archie Gray was having a bad game. What did you think about his performance? And also tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the back line in general.
Okay, I thought Archie Gray had a good game today. He was, considering how young he is and inexperienced in European football.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he, played reasonably well. The back line, as they performed against Manchester City, mainly Dragusin and
Ben Davis.
Escapes me. Ben Davis.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. The fact that they managed to catch Roma offside on 2 occasions, albeit on one occasion extremely close call, they seem to be working well together. That's what I would say with that. Porro works tirelessly. I feel he's better going forward than he is as a defender, as we saw with that back header towards the end.
Yeah,
there, which
that was madness.
Had us all on our seats. I thought it was totally unnecessary, as I think Glenn Hoddle mentioned on the commentary I was listening to.
Yeah,
he could have chested it and clear your lines. But anyway, no, I thought they managed well considering. Yeah.
Okay, and just before I say goodbye to you, Steve, just give me in one word: are we going to make it into that top 8 at the end of this group stage and therefore miss out on that playoff, or?
Yes,
no?
I think we will. I think we'll just scrape through. Yeah.
Brilliant. Steve, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully I can talk to you after the Fulham game, maybe.
Okay, definitely. I look forward to it. Okay,
Top
Barnaby.
Man. Thanks,
Enjoy
Steve.
the rest of the program. Bye-bye.
Oh, I cut Steve off a little early there. A little bit rude, but I blame the technology. Just going to a couple of comments before I bring on our next interviewee, our next Spurs fan. Observer 1 says Forster played well. Mark says Biss and Bentancur saved us. I thought Bissouma actually looked really good when he came on. Good game for Bentancur. I was a little surprised he took Bentancur off, but I guess he just had a yellow card. JJ says not having the injury argument and signed these players. Mark says it feels like a loss. Can't take away from Rome. They wanted it, but should have beaten them. Half our boys were making poor passes and didn't have the energy needed, and we handed it to Roma. Grr. JJ again said earlier the team was strong enough to win. Brian Lamar says Pedro Porro was tired. Well, let's go to Norway and see what Remy Odegaard says. Remy, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Good evening from Norway.
Hello,
from
Remy.
Ice cold Norway.
I'll tell you what, Remy, it's pretty ice cold here as well, but I dare say you've probably got the slightly colder weather. But how do you feel about that result in the end? Where do you think it went wrong for Spurs?
If you would have offered me a draw before the game, I think I would have taken it. I felt that this was a game where the manager of Rome, he's an old fox, that one,
Yeah.
You saw that they were switching from right to left like all the time with like clear intent of open up space on either side, and it worked quite a few times. I was never comfortable through the game, and they had 3 disallowed goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the end, like the gentleman before me just said, it was a fair result when you look at the chances. But when it comes to like field play, I felt Rome was a level above us most of the match, unfortunately.
Yeah, I have to say, I think Roma. I think Roma, they popped it about left to right a lot more comfortably. I would say on transition, I think we looked a little bit more dangerous until it got to the final third, when too many times we made the wrong decision. But what was interesting about it is, and I wonder if you think this is something that has kind of been tweaked by Ange, it seems a bit more like we're more comfortable playing deep, a little bit deeper, and breaking on teams now, rather than just trying to have all the possession all the time. Do you think that's a conscious decision by Ange, or just the way that the game was going?
I would think it's a conscious decision based on the 2 central defenders that we are playing at the moment because of the injuries of Van de Ven and Romero. So I think it's just like it's the only way to kind of, because to put like Davis and Dragushin as far up the pitch as Mickey Van de Ven and Romero, that is kind of, that's too dangerous.
Yeah.
But you were mentioning the transition, and the gentleman before me also mentioned that situation where when we were 4 against 2.
Yeah.
In that when that happened, I was sure that we were going to at least come to like a clear-cut chance. So that was very disappointing. That I feel it was a messy game. It was like Roma had some good spells, like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We had some good spells, but most of the time it was messy. Is the best way I can explain it on how I saw the game.
Yeah. I'm just looking for some positives. I think we, to some degree, most Spurs fans were going into this game and maybe this period of time fearing about Fraser Forster having to replace Guillermo Vicario. I feel a little less worried about that now. What about you?
No, I am. I'm on your side, Barnaby, on this one, because Forster, I don't know. There is something about him. He looked so switched on all the time when he plays, and I'm not like afraid. Like we have had some second goalies the last maybe 6-8 years, that I was really nervous when they had to come on, because I knew there was a mistake in them somewhere,
Yeah.
And I feel that Forster he doesn't give me that feeling. I would like Vicario to not be injured, but it's not like I'm thinking that, we're going to lose that game because we have Forster in goal. I think Forster is a good backup goalkeeper to have, actually, in this stage of Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that he had a good game. I'm just gutted for him that goal was scored at the end, because that save would be talked about long into the future if we'd won that game and we'd not conceded at the end. Just going to bring up this comment from Clive Parker. He says, Foster played well. Porro is excellent. We're moving in the right direction. It's exciting football. It's what the fans called for. Just need some consistency and then push on. Do you agree with Clive? Do you think there are it's important to move on from this game positively?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We got something from the game, even if Rome was better, a little bit better than us on the night.
Yeah.
So one point we had to get something from this game after we lost in Istanbul. So
true.
Like I said early on, that if you had offered me a draw in before the match, I probably would have taken it. So all in all, there is positives, there is negatives, but you probably, like me, have been the Spurs fan for many years, so you are used to this positive, negative.
Yeah, that's
back
true.
and forth.
It's true, and it's worth bringing up. It's like, I have to say, I still remember, even if I'm not even going to talk about as far back as the 90s or the noughties, but I still remember how bored I was watching Mourinho ball at the end and Conte ball at the end. And you cannot say, I was talking a lot during this watch along, wasn't I? I was saying, if you were a neutral, you'd be loving this game because it was like basketball. And actually, I think Spurs, all in all, defended pretty well. And just, we should have won that game maybe 5-2, but we weren't clinical enough. And I think if heading into this week, I think if you'd have given Spurs fans the opportunity to be more clinical in the Man City game or in the Roma game, everyone would have called for that Man City game, and we were clinical then. That was absolutely devastating.
Yeah, for sure. Just to illustrate being a Tottenham fan for as many years as I have, like just 2 seconds on the City game, I didn't start to hope for to get points from that game until we were 3-0 up.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So
that's exactly right. Well, hold on, even at 3-0 with about 10 minutes to go, I was a bit like, can I really do this? Fifth Elemento said in the chat, we need to stop letting teams come back so easily. Like I said in the other channels, do not change the formation. FFS. I don't think he did change the formation. I wonder if he means don't bring players on substitution wise at the end. I'm not sure what he means there really. Eamon McNeil says needed to win that one, really puts the pressure right on for the Rangers game now. This club, I mean, by saying this club, I think he's saying exactly what you think. What we've been talking about. Remy, in terms of just trying to end this on some positivity, who were your kind of players who did do well for Spurs today, other than Forster, who we've talked about? Where were the positive performances for you?
I think Kulusevski was brilliant in the first half.
Yeah,
like really, really good. And I think that Bentancur also did some really impressive stuff in midfield, like breaking up play. And but he's a loose cannon, that one. And that tackle when he got the yellow, it's orange at.
Yeah, it was orange.
Yeah. So and it was disappointing
basically he's South American, Remy, isn't he? That's it. It's his passion.
Yeah, it is. But and I was a little bit disappointed that Mathers and Bissouma, when they came on, they couldn't do what Ange probably thought that they would do when they put them on. They wanted Bissouma to go in there and grab hold on the ball in deep midfield areas. And it was he won it and they lost it and they won it. It was like I said, it was a messy game, but I still have like 100% confidence in this Ange Postecoglou project. Like you said just now, the football that we played under Mourinho and Conte, it's not us, So even if sometimes I feel like I'm getting like a 6 months older during 90 minutes plus when I'm watching Spurs, it's so much better, because it's entertaining, it's exciting, and sometimes frustrating. But being a Spurs fan for 30 years, it's all good. It's all good.
I completely agree. Just before I let you go, Remy, because you mentioned, sorry, that's the wrong one. You mentioned about James Maddison. David Byrne said Maddison simply cannot be on the pitch when it's a pressure situation. His princess work rate, lack of dog and desire is a huge liability. Roma exploited the gap he created in midfield when he came on. Is that a little bit too negative for you? I don't know how you feel about that, but I personally didn't watch that and think it was Maddison's fault. What do you think about Maddison at the moment?
No, not at all. Not at all. But he's like a margin player, and there was some passes that was picked up instead of going through the player that he sent it to. And it's such fine margins. And when it goes against him, it kind of look maybe not as good as you would like. But when they work, it's like, wow, look at that brilliant passing player, So, and Maddison in the last game against City, So maybe, but maybe he's like a little inconsistent. Yeah.
Okay, Remy, listen, thank you so much for calling in. Hopefully I'll get to speak to you after a victory against Fulham, that we can really appreciate you coming on. and try and enjoy the rest of your night if you can.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, Remy. Bye-bye. Okay, that's Remy. Next, I'm going to go all the way to South Africa and Linton. Linton, can you hear me okay? How are you doing?
Yes, Barnaby, I can hear you fine. I'm good, thank you, and yourself?
Yes, I'm as good as I can be after a kind of last-minute equalizer, but I think the fact that it felt like it was coming and we'd been fortunate with the 3 disallowed goals kind of tempers that annoyance a little bit for me. What about you?
Well, we played well in patches, especially in the first half. We started brightly, and then, we kind of went off the boil a little until that first disallowed goal, and then we seemed to brighten up again. And then, unfortunately, a needless free kick given away by Dragusin, and then they scored from that, unfortunately.
What did you think of Dragusin's and Ben Davis's performances overall? I agree with you that, and I was saying that during the watch along. I did think that was a needless set piece that we gave away then, and that's something that I think Spurs really have to improve on, especially against teams who are going to want to put it in the box, where we can look a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, not leaky, but a little bit less confident. But overall, did you think Dragusin and Davis had a good performance?
I did. I think they acquitted themselves well. We're aware of their limitations, and I think Ange is aware of that as well, and that's why he's got them to play a little bit deeper. Obviously, they lack the pace, and that's why we don't defend as high as as we normally do with Van der Ven and Romero. So that's obviously why we're hanging deeper, because of the lack of pace in the defense. But I think they communicate well. Davies is a good team man. He's a Spurs man through and through, and he really gives his all when he's on the pitch, and
I have to say one thing that keeps kind of coming up to me when I see Davis and Radushin playing together is that it's really natural. It gives us really natural balance, and Dragusin looks a lot more comfortable on the ball on the right than he does on the left when he plays with Romero. Is that something that you think Ange will have seen now and will probably, if Romero is fit for Fulham game or the Bournemouth game after that he would let Dragusin play on the right side of those two?
I agree. I think he does play better on the right, and Davis, as we know, he's a natural left-sided player. So I think he will, and I think that now that he's seen that, and Dragusin's had a decent run in the side, I think he'll maybe, and with Romero coming back from an injury, I think he'll possibly, give him some more minutes in the Premier League, especially.
Yeah, and I'll ask you the same question that I asked Remy about Fraser Forster coming in for Vicario. Has his performance tonight kind of allayed any fears you had about his ability to kind of deputize over the next 10 games or so?
Yeah, again, he's a dependable keeper. So there's nothing flash about him, but he's solid. He's a good shot stopper, and he's solid, and he does his job. And I think he's a good backup. And I mean, it's difficult, for a keeper. You need to be playing all the time. You need to be saving shots all the time, and it's different from doing it in practice as opposed to being on the pitch. And so, for him to come in after such little game time, he's done really, really well. So yeah, I'm quite comfortable with him there. Obviously, he's not Vicario, but he's a pretty good backup.
And Linton, how do you feel about where Spurs are at in their Europa League run now? Then obviously we got the first 3 wins in a row, which are looking more and more vital right now. We're sitting 9th in that kind of league table, in which we need to come in the top 8 to avoid a playoff, and we still have Ibrox to go to, Rangers away and Hoffenheim away. Are you still feeling comfortable? I mean, do you feel like if and when necessary, Ange will play the first team in one of these games to try and get us over the line into that top 8? Or do you think kind of he'll still just want to prioritize rotating the squad in these games?
I think he may, Ibrox is not such a far travel, so he may play a stronger side in that. He may try and go for the 3 points there and a victory, although it's not going to be an easy game against Rangers. No. And and again, we even in the Premier League, we've struggled with away games. Fortunately, this last weekend was a brilliant away game. But we have this season struggled with away games, and so it's a difficult one. But I do think that he will go strong to try and secure a playoff spot.
Just going to go into some of the comments. Mark said, I feel gutted because I wanted a performance like we had at City. We really gave that one away. That aside, Roma didn't give up, just feeling really frustrated. Is that the kind of feeling that you're left with after today? Do you feel a kind of sense of frustration, or is it just one that, listen, these things happen, you concede late goals, and, it's a Serie A side. When let's face it, when the draw was pulled out, we were all looking at this game being like, oh, that'll be a big one. And just the fact that Roma haven't had a great start to the season doesn't really change that.
Look, I'm happy that we came away with a point, because at one stage, towards the end, it didn't look like we were going to come away with anything, because Roma were really pressing, and then they got the equalizer. And fortunately, it was late that there wasn't time for them to press, because they really had the momentum.
Yes,
so it was frustrating, but we threw everything into that City game on the weekend. So I think, and the guys did look a bit leggy today. So you can understand, that towards the end that Roma were going to press hard, because the guys definitely did look leggy, especially in the second half. And so I think, it was disappointing when we conceded the second goal, especially after that brilliant save from Forster.
I know,
but,
that was gutting. That's one of the best saves I've ever seen. Eamon McNeil here has said in the comments, think questions will soon be asked about Solanke if he doesn't start scoring more goals. Now, one thing I'd say about this, and I'm interested to hear what you think, Linton. One thing I'd say is that we just we don't make Solanke that many chances. And today was the first game in a few games where actually with the header that was a bit behind him, and then the shot that he took on when actually I think he should have laid in Maddison. They're the first chances I've really seen him have for a few games. So I guess, wasn't surprised that he took that shot on. But I personally think his all-round game is so good that I'm not worried about him at all. But how do you feel about Solanke's form?
No, I agree. We're not creating enough chances for him. And I really did think that, at the beginning of the season when we signed him, I really thought that with Son and Johnson and our wingers out wide, that we would be creating more. And, with Ange Ball going forward, I did think we would create more chances. And I predicted beginning of the season that in the Premier League, he'd score around, he scored 19 for Bournemouth last season. So I thought he'd be around 22 for us this season. And I thought that would be pretty good. But he seems to be falling way short. It's not his fault as such. But I do think that we need to be creating more chances for him. But having said that, the few chances he gets, he needs to be clinical. And I just think we're again, and on the weekend we were clinical, and tonight again we were wasteful. If I think of the opportunity that Son had, the one that Solanke had, and there were several other opportunities that we had, I just think we at times we can be wasteful.
And Linton, where do you feel like Spurs are in the kind of bigger picture with this project under Ange Postecoglou? You're a bit of an older man, a little bit like me. You've seen a lot of things as a Spurs fan. How are you feeling about the project as a whole?
Look, I'm beyond the project. I just hope that Levy's beyond the project and gives him the players that he needs going forward. So I certainly do, do hope that the board do back him going forward. And one thing I think we're really lacking, and it was evident tonight again, is we need a real leader on the pitch. And I do think that at times we lack the maturity to close down a game, and that was evident tonight again. So a Højbjerg type player, I know he didn't fit into Ange's system as such, but that kind of leader on the pitch, I think is what we're lacking as a team. So I'd really like us to get a leader, somebody who can really take the team and lead the team and guide the team, especially in situations where we need to shut down a game and just if we're 1-0 up or 2-1 up, and when it gets close. So I'd really like to see that.
Linton, I feel like those two things you've just said are kind of interlinked. You want Daniel Levy to back Ange Postecoglou, but at the same time we need a leader. My fear is that the kind of money that it would take to get a kind of ready-made leader for a Premier League side is money that at this stage that Levy is not willing to spend. And therefore, I think it's more like we're hoping that leaders come out of the pack. And that is something that I do think, for instance, Deki Kulusevski is doing at the moment.
Yeah, and Vicario is another one, although it's not ideal, as we know with Lloris, to have your keeper as the captain. He can certainly lead the backline, but, as a captain, it's very difficult. But you need somebody. And, I was really hoping that that Romero would step up as that type of leader, but he seems to have gone quiet. And even Madison in the middle of the park, when they were made vice captains, I really thought that they would step up and lead the side. But, from that point of view, from a leadership point of view, it has been a little disappointing. But we just need to show some maturity on the pitch, in those situations where it's close.
Yeah, so Karen Bevan in the comments has said this, we didn't lose, so that's okay. We'll win against Fulham. People forget this team is still in the building stage. Winning games is not a given thing, and it takes a lot of work and preparation. And we'll get it more consistent. We need faith, and I think we'll get there. I mean, I feel like Karen there, and thank you, Karen, for writing in. Karen is glass half full, as I feel like both you and I probably are, Linton. And I do think, listen, I think it's really important as to how other people, both other fans and other managers and also the media, how they feel about your side. And I really remember one of the best things about watching Spurs and being a Spurs fan in the peak Pochettino era was how people in the media, the pundits and the commentators and also other fans had to kind of almost, without wanting to, admit that watching Spurs was really fun and really enjoyable. And I feel like we've got that back. And I think that is like the key part of it. And all of the rest where we're building towards consistency to enjoy that with, victory after victory will come as long as we're patient. I feel like Karen feels that. And you feel the same, right?
I do, absolutely. Look, it is a building phase. And, I think Spurs fans have been starved for trophies for so many years now that we're expecting instant success. But unfortunately, it doesn't come. So we have to, it's part of the building phase. As Ange said recently, he feels that we're a better side this season than last season. And it's just to now get that consistency, as I say as well, get the right leadership on the pitch. And then it's step by step. If we can just each season make progress and, by next season, it'll be the third season that Ange is in charge. We should really start seeing sort of those building blocks in place and things start getting better. So, yeah, I do think that by next season there should really be some major progress.
Yeah, and I think what Patch Thomas is saying in the comments kind of is similar. It's great to watch this team. We play some champagne football, like in the build-up to the penalty, but we make childish errors. And for me, that's stuff that will be ironed out as the squad grow older together and stuff. And listen, I know this is a much talked about comparison, but Mikel Arteta finishing 8th in his first 2 seasons with Arsenal as they tried to take out the kind of dead wood and bring in the younger players. And sure, they had moments like winning the FA Cup. And listen, I do think, Spurs, it would really help Ange to win a trophy this season, obviously. But if we can stay patient with him, then we can get the kind of really up there and get as close as maybe Arsenal have done and maybe even push on past them if Man City struggle with, well, they're struggling at the moment anyway, but certainly if they struggle with the 1-1-5. I just want to ask you, Linton, before I let you go, Fulham at home at the weekend, obviously we have a history this season of bouncing back from big wins in the Premier League with disappointing losses.
Yes.
How do you think that game's going to go?
I'm predicting a 3-1 victory. Again, it just depends on how much tonight took out of a lot of the key players. It depends on the side that he picks for the weekend.
Bit of a worry that Solanke looked like he might have done his groin a little there. He seemed to run it off, but I'm slightly nervous about that because I feel like after Vicario, the one player we really can't afford to lose is Solanke.
That's right. Yeah. So that's a concern. So we just have to see what comes out of that. Hopefully, the medical staff can work on him and turn him around and get him ready for the weekend. And Son also played a lot of a lot of minutes tonight again. So and he's getting on, so his minutes have to be managed. So we'll just see if he can, if he can recover physically for the quick turnaround. But I think Fulham are going to be up for the game in that, they were beaten heavily on the weekend. So I think they're going to be up for the game. But, I think we'll have enough quality there to beat them.
Top man, Linton, I really appreciate you calling in. Thanks so much. Hopefully speak to you again maybe after the Fulham game.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Barnaby. And I just want to say before I finish, thank you for the commentary on the watch-along. It was really great.
Mate,
really enjoyed it.
I really appreciate that. As you know, I've just started doing them for Chris's channel. I'm going to be doing them for all the games. So keep watching. And actually, a good time for me to say, for any of you who'd like to appear talking to me after a future watch-along, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. And we can talk after a future game, just like Linton and I have talked today. But Linton, hopefully speak to you after Fulham. And enjoy the rest of your South African day or night.
Thank you, and you too. Thank you, Barnaby. All the best.
Mate. Cheers.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Sure.
Okay, guys, we've got about 5 minutes left on this watch along, and then it'll be nearly 11 o'clock. And at 11 o'clock, Chris will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast. And today on the Spurs Chat podcast at 11 p.m., he has Craig Dearman, Gary Maloney, and Josh Calm. If you haven't already, guys, please do press like on this stream. That enables this to be seen by as many people as possible. And also, please do subscribe to Chris's YouTube channel if you're not already. Also, if you like my musings and you want to hear me talk about Spurs on a daily basis, I make Spurs content, 20-minute videos every weekday. And of course, match reviews, match previews, etc. on my own channel, which is youtube.com/@Barnaby Slater _. So please do give that a follow as well. Let's get back in the chat for the last few minutes. Let's have a look. Phoenix says, I still don't understand why we signed 3 18 to 19-year-olds in the summer. Well, for me, Phoenix, I think that's because many years ago, under Pochettino, over 5 years ago, he talked about the necessity for the painful rebuild at Tottenham Hotspur. And we've kind of taken too long in doing that by appointing win-now managers with Mourinho and Conte. And finally, we needed to really lower the average age of our squad. So I think that's really why we needed to bring in those young players. And sure, it will take time for them to bed in. And we have to realistically be patient with some of those players as they bed into English football in some cases, as they bed into the club, as they bed into the style of play. So listen, that's why I think we did that. Eamon McNeil says this: loved the Poch days, but ultimately when it came to it, we always failed to get over the line. It's very hard to shake. Just looking back, listen, those Poch days were completely unexpected. It was way ahead of the schedule in terms of the club and where Tottenham Hotspur planned on being, by which I mean the Northumberland development project put in place by Daniel Levy and Enoch was supposed to be that we would move into our new stadium, get the revenue in for that, then start making enough money to buy the players to get to the Champions League. And then all that came about 10 years earlier than expected. So the club is still kind of catching up on how brilliant Poch was. Pochettino did an unbelievable job as manager of Tottenham Hotspur, and I won't hear a bad word against him. In fact, mostly I'd be interested to hear from you guys as to whether you think he'll ever come back to the club. Mark, again, thank you for all of your chats today. Mark says, feels Sonny can't play 90 minutes at the moment, and Johnson, Kuliporo, and even Madders were tired. Even Sarr was off it tonight, accuracy and energy-wise. Just so frustrating. I wanted us to power on. Yeah, I think we all wanted us to power on, mate, but it's not always as simple as that. And sometimes you've got to give props to the opposition. I thought Roma, considering how much their fans hate them at the moment and how much stick they've got this season and how many managers they've plowed through, they put in a good performance. They didn't seem like they played under any pressure at all today. And bear in mind, as I mentioned, Mats Hummels hadn't been playing all season under previous managers. He came in and I think he gave a great performance, not just because he equalized in the last minute either. But listen, a 2-2 draw today, not the result we were all looking for, and especially with a goal, an equalizer, in the last minute, but still not a defeat. And Tottenham will learn from this, and I'm still positive that we can make our way into the top 8 of that Europa League group to make sure we don't have to play a playoff. And I think almost more importantly, can we get the momentum in the Premier League to make it 2 wins out of 2 against Fulham at the weekend? They just lost 4-1 against Wolves at home. Let's make the most of their lack of confidence, get an early goal and take them apart. I will be doing a watch along once again on Chris's channel for that game on Sunday. So make sure you tune in. And if you are not already a subscriber to Chris's channel, please do subscribe. Please do give this video a like if you haven't. As I mentioned, if you'd like to appear on a future episode of these watch-alongs talking to me after the game, email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. I like to talk to fans from all around the world after the games, get everyone's different opinions. And of course, most importantly, Chris will be with you in 10 minutes time on his channel. So a different feed, but go and find it with the Spurs Chat podcast. Go over there, drop it a like, make sure you're subscribed to his channel. And don't feel too negative, guys. Don't feel too negative. We're still doing well and we are going in the right direction. I've got good positive vibes about this season, guys. So don't worry too much. Most importantly, as we head into Fulham at the weekend, come on, you Spurs.